Hey, Rob, really glad that you could come out, and we finally got you here in the auditorium at the Stage Select studio. Thanks for coming out. Really appreciate it.
This studio is slightly better than I expected. I didn't know quite what to. I thought maybe like Howard Stern green room type thing. Like there would be a thing of like Mike and Ike's on a table and maybe like a prostitute or a stripper. But this is much nicer.
Oh,
This
thank you.
area
No,
is
yeah,
nicer.
we spared no expense. And actually, to that end, I've got to go check on a couple things before we get rolling. But our stage manager, his name is Morgan. He's going to come in right here. He'll take care of you. Now, just a heads up. He's an unused FromSoft NPC, and so he's a little fragile. So just he's a little weird, but really lovable guy, really nice. So don't worry about it. If you need anything, like he's there. Okay, so don't worry.
Great.
So.
Yeah, no. So I look forward to meeting. I like that you have staff now. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I got to go check on a couple things, but so I'll be right back, and then we'll get this thing rolling. So cool. Thanks again, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello, Mr. Ottone.
Hi, what is your name? Morgan? Morgoth? Morgan Fairchild?
It's Morgan, sir. I am the stage manager for the Stage Select. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you. You look great. Not as murky as I thought you would look.
Oh, thank you. I've been doing some conditioning, as the magazines say. It's quite liberating, really. I like it quite a bit.
I haven't read a magazine since the Obama administration, so that's really great that you're diving into that and teaching yourself how to look at magazines and whatnot. Good for you, man. But like I said, you look great.
Oh, thank you, sir. I hate to impose, but I was actually wondering if you wouldn't mind signing my copy of Her Infernal Name.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm glad that you did, on top of the magazines, that you're reading this. That's very cool, and I'm happy to, I'm always happy to meet a fan. It's very
thank
nice.
you,
Well,
yes.
I'm going to sign it right here if that's okay.
Yes, it was very, very good. Thank you.
I had one thing, and I hate to be a pain. The Mike and Ike's are fabulous. I love them, but I needed to know: do you by any chance have any candy corn laying around?
Oh, I can go provide some for you, sir. But before that, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate your writing, and I find it highly enlightening how many ways you find to kill people. It's quite illuminating, and I appreciate that about your writings.
Well, I appreciate your appreciation, and you're from software guy. You could probably give me some ideas for different ways to kill things. I'm always open to new ideas and getting inspiration. So if you had any ideas that you wanted to share with me, I could maybe work you into a book. Whatever works best for you. I mean, I'm happy to do whatever.
Oh, that sounds incredible. So yes, I have quite a few ways. I would say, just as a suggestion, to stay away from anything involving poison swamps, though. Poison swamps are excruciating and quite worrisome, so I would stay away from that. But in the meantime, Mr. Ottone, I will seek out your candied
Oh, no, I like
Oh,
that
hey, Rob,
guy.
I think we're all set to go. Oh,
This
yeah.
guy died.
He does that. It's okay.
I didn't get
it
my
happened.
candy corn.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You know what? After the show, I will. He'll probably be alive by the time, and he'll remember to get it. So, and by the end of the show, for sure, we'll grab you some candy corn.
Right. When he dies, I just have to ask, do you have him wearing a diaper, or does he lose full control?
No, it's a weird thing. It's all just kind of like a mist. And then our janitor Abramo just kind of sweeps him into a corner. It's actually very efficient. Works really well.
That's really cool. I don't know. I mean, if he goes back home to the poison swamp or whatever, I would love to get one of my own. I have this new house. I need somebody to mow the yard and whatnot.
Well, I mean, he's our stage manager, so I don't know if we want to part with him. But if we find an extra, I'll definitely let you know.
All right.
But all right, yeah, let's get this rig rolling.
It's time for the Scare Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Dare.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands, not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expected, unexpected, and more. Now we'll get moving. Now we know what's gonna walk through the door. We're just like these who's not giving. It's just having fun. A special guest star for Stage Select.
Welcome, one and all, to the Scare Select. I'm Julian Titus.
I'm Justin Ham. It's going to be this kind of show, huh? Yeah, that's great.
It is. I couldn't help myself.
Well, I mean, it's fine. I came prepared. I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew it was going to be, a horror-themed Halloween shit show. So I did make some buttons, some brand new buttons, just for this occasion.
Excellent.
They're the scariest things that I personally could think of.
Oh God.
And I'll unveil them as we go. Okay. I don't want to do anything too crazy here.
Yeah. No, I am properly terrified. So good job.
You should be. That's no, good.
Yeah. But joining us, first time on the show, very special guest. We have the award-winning horror author Rob Ottone.
Oh, hey. Hello.
Hello, my friend.
Happy to be here.
Yes. So
I'm still reeling over that guy dying.
We're just used to it at this point.
Yeah, he does it a lot.
Yeah. Right. Sometimes he can stay up for a good amount of time, but then, it's really hard to know, what the actual impetus for the deaths are. Sometimes, he's just standing there apropos of nothing, and then just, boom, on the ground.
Yeah, you get really used to it after a while.
Yeah. He's been working for us for a few months now, so it's old hat for us at this point.
Yeah.
So, Rob, new show, new listeners who may not be aware of our history together. Mm-hmm. Rob and I go back nearly 20 goddamn years now. It's actually going to be 20 years in, I think maybe 2 years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. It's a long time to be friends with someone that we've never met in meat space, but it'll happen one of these days. I swear it. We met on a LiveJournal through the comment section of an Xbox 360 blog page.
Yeah.
And we kind of got into this really good back and forth conversation, and I distinctly remember Rob saying, "Hey, I'm gonna follow your blog. You know your shit." And then a bromance was formed from that day on. And we went on to podcast together. Rob is the co-founder of the former show Nerds Without Pants. Mm-hmm. We had done a show previous to that was kind of us just taking the reins of a show that was already existing on Pixelbit at the time called Pixel Talk. We did that for about a year, and then we did Nerds Without Pants. And since then, I mean, it's been a long time. Rob has done a lot of things, but the big thing is that he is now an accomplished horror writer. So accomplished, in fact, that I can't keep up. It's too many goddamn books. It's incredible. Every time I swear, every time that I see you tweet, Rob, it's to announce a new book coming out.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't anticipate having so many things happen in succession. I was thinking about it today. I was listening to very vain. I listen to my own podcast interviews when they come out. But I was listening to it and I was thinking about how the triangle won the Stoker Award, and literally 2 months before that, my book, The Vile Thing We Created, came out, and it was like, wow, that's a ridiculous 1-2 punch of things to happen, like in the same year. So like that's really crazy. And then things are getting re-released this year, which is nice. That's kind of the exciting thing. I'm writing the third entry in the Rise trilogy, which the Triangle is the first one, the Deep is the second, and the third one is called The Navigator. I've already started that. And then there's a lot of fun stuff. There's always something going on, and my agent is shopping around 2 books. And yeah, and I've started playing games again. I just bought a house. So it's been a lot of things cooking.
Yeah, and you did not know it at the time. Justin and I knew it, but you were actually the last pair of guests on Nerds Without Pants. The episode that you were on with Mike Fallick was the last time that he came on that podcast. And we haven't had a chance to catch up since then, and we will be doing that very shortly. But I do have a couple show announcements to kind of take care of before we get into that. First off, for patrons, we have a winner for the next episode of the Suffer Select. Justin and I will be playing Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest.
Oh, thank God. All right. Okay, great. That's okay. Cool. I can deal with that. I can deal with that kind of misery. That's good. Whew.
Yeah.
You guys did good. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate it, because I probably would have not left very many rooms in the other game.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And on that, as far as the Patreon, I have made some changes. So it occurred to me that you couldn't interact with like the main show posts because they were locked to patrons. But they only need to be locked to patrons when the show is in its early access thing. So on release day on Wednesdays, when the episodes come out publicly, I will be unlocking those episodes on Patreon so that people can comment on them regularly. So that will be another place that people can send comments for questions, comments, and concerns. The other thing is that I have started like putting a price tag on individual exclusive episodes. So that's a way, like if you're like a free member, or you just want to like, you only were interested in this one particular Suffer Select, like you can now just do that without having to get a monthly membership. Those episodes, basically the episodes are $1 more than what a month of the lowest tier would be to unlock them. So Suffer Select episodes are $4 an episode. When our Lack of Dragon Infinite Wealth spoiler cast comes out, that'll be $6 because that's going to be an executive producer tier show only. Which I know those prices sound kind of steep, but I'm trying to incentivize people to just like grab a month if they want, and
that's
listen to
less
everything.
than a big Mac.
That's right. Well, I guess it depends on where you're at. But yes, it's they're good shows, right? So hopefully, and it's a way that people can just like kind of experience them like a la carte if they don't want to like get into a subscription. And, I get it. Sometimes you don't want to just like get yet another subscription and then forget about it, and then it's like, oh, I haven't actually like engaged with this in forever, and right. I get it. So
it's like $1 an hour. That's not a lot of money.
No.
Well, the Suffer Selects are shorter episodes, at least so far. Like I think the longest one we've done is like closer to 2. So, but still, yeah,
that's not a lot of money. I don't think. For that.
Everything is screwy these days. So, and I'm proud of them. So,
right.
We'll see how it goes. I don't expect to see a lot of money come in from like individual episodes, but like it's there if you want it. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Holy shit!
What?
Was that Diamond David Lee Roth?
That was, yes, the ghost of David Lee Roth for sure. He's not dead, which makes it more terrifying.
If he's playing with swords, he will be.
Yeah.
Are you scared of his small penis? Is that what?
I don't know. I just find the man terrifying. I don't know about you.
Does he have a small penis? I don't believe that.
So as the story goes, David Lee Roth did not sleep with groupies because he was afraid of word of his small penis getting out, which it got out anyway. But there you go.
Who said that? Eddie Van Halen?
I heard the story as told by Will Sasso, but I don't know where Will Sasso heard it.
Will Sasso does a show that's co-opted by AI, so throw everything he says right out the fucking window.
He has gone off the rails in a few recent years, hasn't he?
Well, and it sucks too because his co-host guy Chad Kultgen was one of my favorite authors for the longest time, and then they started doing that AI thing, and I'm like, well, fuck both of these guys. So, I'm not into that at all. So but I have Chad Kultgen books right on the shelf behind me, I think. Yeah, I got 2 right there, and
you'll get some leg tonight for sure.
Oh my! I love that so much.
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good.
I refuse to believe that he has a small dick, because he has big dick energy. He's like the epitome of big dick energy, and he's like the greatest. Ready? Controversy coming through. He's like the greatest rock frontman that's ever lived. He is entertainment. First of all, he's Shawn Michaels without kicking anybody in the face.
Well, I mean,
but
Shawn Michaels probably stole from him, but
of course.
I mean, yeah, he could have kicked somebody in the face.
Well, you watch the video for Jump, he could definitely get height.
I mean, yeah. But
I don't know, man.
Missed opportunity to have David Lee Roth and HBK in a WrestleMania tag match.
I don't think he would have agreed to it. Yeah.
You sound so adamant about that. You're like, no, listen, I represent David Lee Roth, and he is not about that
listen,
shit.
Listen, I don't think he would have agreed to it. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I don't think he would have been into that idea. I mean, yeah, you never know. Never say never, but probably never. Probably say never. I'm sure it's fine.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Rob,
Hi.
you texted me like leading up to like this podcast appearance with a kind of a bombshell, which is that you purchased a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk about that for a little bit before we get into like actual individual games.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of huge. So we've been talking a lot on this show about like what the fuck is going on over at Xbox, but listeners have to know Rob Ottone is like the Xbox guy. Like that. I mean, again, met on an Xbox 360 live journal page, right? Like, you've been kind of away from gaming for a while, and you had been texting me, every now and then, like, hey, what is the one that I want to get if I want to get a new system? And I was like, well, you want to get a Series X, because my thinking was, well, it's an Xbox. The backwards compatibility is, like you're going to have like a lot of games just right out of the gate that you can already play. Yeah. Game Pass is like a really good deal especially for you, where like, you throw down like $10 a month, and then like you've got a bunch of games right there, because like, especially not being like super like current, it's all going to be new to you. So like, it's a really good way to get like caught up on shit. And I was like, yeah, that seems like a no-brainer to me. And the fact that you were like, nah, fuck that shit, I want a PlayStation 5. Like that, like, man, it's kind of over. Like, if they can't win over someone like you.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine is like very in the video game space like you are, and he's actually got one of those boss fight books coming out about one of the Tekken games. And so I asked him too, because I like text him, and he was like, oh dude, he's like, Xbox is done. He's like, their exclusives are going to be like non-existent because there's no money in exclusives anymore. It just makes no sense. So that was kind of the first like jab at Xbox for me. And then when they made the announcement that all the Silent Hill titles are going to be exclusive to PS5 for 1 year, I was like, well, PlayStation 5 it is.
Yeah.
So, and I'm very happy with it so far. I think PlayStation Plus is a good deal. It's a little expensive, but I think it's a good deal. And I saw the Outer Worlds, like a big special edition of Outer Worlds or something is out, and I'm gonna get that for free. And
there you go.
Yeah, that's like I remember loving that game, and I've just been discovering a lot of games that I didn't anticipate liking. And I got the new not the new, but the remake of Silent Hill 2. And I played through Silent Hill: The Short Message, which I fully expected to fucking hate, and didn't hate.
Really? Okay. I have not. I had downloaded it, but I had not gotten around to playing it yet.
It's interesting. It's a little in the same way that the Silent Hill 2 remake is. It's a little on the nose with its message.
that I do remember that from when I watched it.
Every time it goes to like a new chapter or whatever, it's like, if you or a friend are having issues with mental health and blah blah blah, call this. And it's like, we fucking get it. Somebody killed themselves. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop telling us. Stop telegraphing what the fuck the twist is going to be.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
They're a little bad about that in that one. I remember that. Even like every note is just sitting that you read is sitting there giving away like what the twist that you're just like, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know where we're going here. I get it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bad about that.
But like the funny thing is like, yeah, that's a big negative against that game, but the game itself is still very enjoyable, and that monster design of Sakura Head, holy shit, that thing is terrifying. And the final puzzle sequence against that thing is very tense, and it took me like 8 tries with one of my best friends sitting next to me to do it. And he was like, holy shit. He's like, how are you not doing this? I was like, shut the fuck up. and we're like, it was really hard.
Yeah.
But it was rewarding in the end. And the game looks great. And I think it does a nice job of saying like, hi, the effects of what happened or what have happened in the past in the one town can be experienced in other parts of the world, because that game takes place in like Czechoslovakia or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, they've been kind of, I mean, ever since like Homecoming, they've been kind of sort of.
4.
Yeah,
4 was like the first one, right?
You're right.
Silent Hill.
I forgot. Yeah, they started kind of. Yeah, they start kind of like expanding. Like, it's bleeding out. Silent Hill shit is just starting to bleed out into other places and shit like that. So,
which is cool. Like, I'm all about that. So, like,
yeah.
I didn't, like I said, I did not anticipate, because I watched a Let's Play of it before I actually played it, and I was like, this is really stupid. And but then actually playing it, I enjoyed it so much more.
All right.
And I also got Dreams on PlayStation Plus for free, and of course, there's that shockingly faithful and shockingly brilliant remake of PT.
Yeah.
Oh, and right, yeah.
Julian, when I tell you it is pants shittingly scary, I'm not even joking. It is so good, and everything about it is terrifying, far more terrifying than the Silent Hill 2 remake, far more terrifying than Silent Hill: The Short Message, and far more terrifying than, honestly, any game that I've played since Silent Hill 4.
Yeah.
And
so I had watched I haven't done this in years, but I used to spend like Halloween watching like a shit ton of like movies and scary stuff with my girlfriend at the time. And one year we watched like a no commentary playthrough of PT, which was because I played PT and I thought that I had died, and so I turned it off because I thought I thought it had started me over and didn't realize that it was still going. So I had never gotten through the whole thing on my own. So this is my first time seeing the whole thing, and it was still fucking terrifying, and it really does make you even angrier in retrospective. Like what could have Silent Hills been, right? Like Kojima, like Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, like that seemed like that could have just been an incredible. Like I still remember the TGS trailer for Silent Hills that came out after PT came out.
Stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, so good.
There's a really brilliant, it's like 40-minute fan film of what these like hardcore Silent Hill fans were like, well, maybe this is what PT might have been. And it's so good and so smart and so scary. And it almost matches PT for how tense and scary it is. But like, I didn't, and I love that. There's one in particular, and I wonder if we've watched the same no commentary Let's Play, because it's just like chef's kiss perfect. But I will tell you this: when I beat it, I didn't die. At least it didn't get me once.
Oh, okay. I thought it just that just like it happens.
No, if you don't turn around, it increases your chances of her not getting you. And
that makes sense.
And there's also the part where like you have to talk into the microphone or whatever to talk to her. And I remember the part where everyone's like, "Oh, you have to say Jareth, or you have to say a J name or whatever," which is not true. And I literally was quoting one of my favorite drag queens. I was just saying something that she says over and over and over again, and it worked. So I was like, oh, thank God. But like, it was so tense and so horrifying, and doing all the stuff like looking for the pieces of, ripped up picture and everything. I'm looking at a PT thing hanging on my wall. I have the gouge it out picture blown up and framed on the wall in front of me behind my door. But like, yeah, that was probably the best way for me to kick off spooky season, was that genius remaking PT in such a faithful way.
Yeah.
That really was like, this should not exist. I don't know how this guy did it, but kudos to him. It's like Dr. something on Dreams.
Yeah.
And it's really wonderful. If you have Dreams and if you have PlayStation Plus, it's free. Go in there and type PT 10-year anniversary remake or whatever. Holy smokes.
So before we get into more individual games, like, I actually have one question, because you had mentioned something in your text that made me think that this is why. Or did you said that? How are you finding the controller, specifically like the haptic stuff?
I don't mind it. It's fine. I don't love like moving a cursor on screen with the controller. I don't love that. But I also find too that the controller's battery does not seem to last. It'll last for like a full gaming session. And when I say like a full gaming session, I mean like hours and hours and hours of playing. But then it takes forever to charge up again. And I find that it doesn't always charge when I just have it plugged in charging. And so I have a couch that has 3 phone chargers built into like the armrest. And if I plug it into that, it doesn't always charge well. But then like if the PlayStation's on while it's plugged in, then it charges. It's really weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I'm still getting used to the PlayStation controller. I'm used to the Xbox controller, but it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so because I find the haptics like magical, and I know we're about to talk about Silent Hill 2, and I was thinking like, oh man, like I can imagine like that stuff really playing well into that particular game, just kind of like adding to that general tension and everything.
Well, I will say like, so a buddy of mine played through Silent Hill 2 already, frustratingly, the fucker. But then again, we have, I'm an adult with a job, so he didn't get things that I get. So for example, like the monsters, the radio static comes through the controller. And when you're near one of them, it vibrates slightly. And that's really cool. There's also like a weird thing that happens. And I guess, I don't know, we can go into Silent Hill 2 now, I guess.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Sure, why not?
There's like these weird moments that you find like very familiar areas.
Yes.
And like you press the button and it like the screen sort of statics and turns green for like a moment. And I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I will say my friend on the PC did not get to experience any of that shit.
Interesting.
Yeah. He also said it was very taxing on his system, and he has a very powerful computer.
Interesting. So if I'm recalling right, like it's spots in like where if you're familiar with the old game and you click on them, you're like, okay, I think like sometimes it'll be like, this was the old puzzle that you did, but it's not here anymore. So you click on it and it kind of almost like does like a little like camera zoom on it and
not even.
And, yeah, it's real hard to explain.
Subtle.
Yeah, you're right. It's
extremely subtle, and it's just location. So I'll give you an example, right? Like Julian and Justin, you've seen in Silent Hill 2 the part where there's like the logs. In a New Game Plus, it's where the chainsaw is.
Right.
So like you find the logs and you see them, and immediately in my brain I was like, oh fuck, that's where the chainsaw is, because I played through Silent Hill 2, no joke, probably 40 times.
Right.
And I know where everything should be.
Yeah.
But in this, and obviously in a regular game, you won't find the chainsaw there. So in this time, I went by the logs, and there was one of those moments, and I clicked it, and I swear, there's no zoom. They don't dwell on it. It's really cool. It just like ripples, static, slightly green tint, and then you're on your way.
Interesting.
It doesn't
They're
even
just like-
acknowledge that anything happens.
No,
yeah, they're
see,
just like, we know that you know, and
Yes.
we acknowledge that you know, but that's what you get.
that's different from what I've seen.
It's really cool. And like
Yeah.
the puzzles, the newer puzzles that are in the game, there's one that's like a record, which reminded me of the record puzzle from Silent Hill, the fucking open world one, Downpour.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, God.
Yeah, which was fine. Fine.
It was fine.
Air quotes. It's fine.
Yeah.
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 So like there's a record puzzle in Silent Hill 2 that's really very good, and it's
cool.
incredibly smart. I had no faith, by the way, that Bloober Team was going to pull this fucking game
Oh
off.
no.
Oh,
me neither.
neither
No,
did
I don't think almost anybody did until it actually came out, and people were like, "Okay, no, it's actually pretty good." That's
It's like, oh, you guys got the assignment because you guys are all actual, legitimate, diehard nerds for this game in the way that we all are. That's nice to see. But I will say, I don't like how Pyramid Head looks. I know this is like a weird, nitpicky, stupid thing, but Pyramid Head has like a fleshy.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think the creator actually like dinged him on that too, if I remember correctly. Yeah, in the remake he has like this weird fucking thing like right where the helmet is.
It looks like a hoodie. It almost looks like the bottom part of a hoodie. There's no real texture to it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is that they're going for there.
Did they make him kind of like buff in like the
they didn't do any of that. No,
Okay.
They did not.
He looks like James with a fucking metal pyramid head on his head.
Yeah.
Like he's the same stature as James as he should be.
Yeah,
but like he doesn't. There is a really brilliant subtle change, and I don't know if you saw this, Justin. You played through it, or you watched the Let's Play?
No, I've watched it almost 3 times now. So yeah.
So the first, and can I tell this part, Julian? I don't want to spoil too much.
No, it's fine. Yeah, like I'm not gonna get to play it until like a couple weeks from now. But it's fine. Like I
haven't beaten it. Just so we all are clear, I have not beaten it. So when James encounters Pyramid Head in that famous scene that is legendary now. Yeah. They really toned that down in the remake, which I think is a disservice.
Right.
That does the narrative no favors by toning it down, in my opinion. However, it's a really cool thing that they do instead of what the original does, and it's when James does shoot him, Pyramid Head does not fucking react at all, which is really cool because it's like, and those of us who know, spoilers. You never actually kill Pyramid Head. There's really no way to stop him. Yeah. Like, that's really cool. And then the funny part of that whole sequence is, so I made my wife watch it because she knows how much I love Silent Hill 2 and Pyramid Head and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So she was outside smoking a cigarette, and I was like, babe, guess what? We're about to meet Pyramid Head. I'm in room 201. You have to come in for this. And she was like, okay. Yeah. So she came in, sat down, and we're watching it. And like the for all intents and purposes, the sexual assault happens, but it also kind of doesn't because it's nowhere near as like it's suggestive as the original.
It's a little bit different. It's almost more he's like stuffing the legs like into like a drain or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And
okay, so I actually did hear another podcast telling this part, but and maybe the person telling it got things conflated because the way that they described the original scene was, that part when you first see Pyramid Head and he's like kind of trying to stuff like the mannequin legs like down the drain. I'm like, that is not what not what that was supposed to look like. But maybe they were confusing the two.
In the original, he's literally holding both legs. Yes. And there's one in front of him. It looks like he's jackhammering into one and forcing himself into the other at the same time. Whereas in this one, he throws one to the ground, and that startles James. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And then he kind of looks around the corner, and Pyramid Head's got one of them. And he's just like Justin said, it looks more like he's trying to stuff it down a drain than anything else. So after James shoots him, he freezes, no reaction. You hear the bullets hit the boom boom off the metal, which is very cool. But then Pyramid Head reacts to it, and it's like missing a beat on purpose to be like, oh, look what you did, big man shooting me kind of thing, and then Pyramid Head leaves.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very funny, but also, where's Pyramid Head's tongue? Because you're supposed to see the tongue in that scene, and you don't. You're supposed to see that fleshy thing in the back of its neck, and you don't. That wasn't there. He looks good. Other than that, it's nice to see that he's not naked and ripped like he was in the movie.
Yeah. And Homecoming, because they basically just copied the movie version in Homecoming.
Yeah.
So that leads me to a question, though, because I am a little worried about that, because I had also seen, and for the most part, I'm fine with the changes they made to the character designs. Yeah. I had mentioned on a previous episode that I kind of miss the really off-putting pupils that everybody's eyes had in the original.
Same.
But I was concerned about kind of the toning down of Maria's kind of overt,
sexuality.
Yeah, because so much of the game is predicated on, James's psychosexual frustration. So did they kind of just tone that down across the board? Because that was kind of the thing.
That seems like I'm sure that is what the case is. I haven't met Maria yet.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that means you haven't seen any nurses yet.
So she's not maybe dressed. Obviously, she has a different outfit on, but she actually is kind of. I'd have to go back and watch the original. I tried to find a YouTube video that would show me one scene and then show me the remake one right next. Yeah, side by side. I couldn't find a good one yet.
Give it another couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming. There was a couple for sure, but most of them were here's this scene. I'm like, no, I want to see them all in a row if you don't mind, just for comparison's sake. But she's there. There's a fun little bit with her with the old outfit, which I thought was fun. And she actually is kind of she's a lot more manipulative in this one, which is interesting.
That's that, and I'm interested about that because Poland, where Bluebird Team is located, does not have a very female positive society. That's number one. And number two, they don't have a very psychotherapeutic or an analytical positive society. They're not people to be yes, let's prioritize mental health and let's prioritize the rights of women.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with The Medium or whatever, but they didn't do super great in that realm on that whole aspect. So
and that's why I was worried about them. It was good. A company from a country that has no fucking idea about psychological anything is going to make the ultimate psychological horror game again. Yeah. So it's funny to hear you say that because, and the graphics, blah blah blah, they look great, and they do for the most part look great. But I'll tell you, watching the the Maria scene from the original game 20-something years ago, however long ago it was, there's more humanity in that face than there is in the remake that I'm seeing. When she does the whole remember when you left that tape there? And she has that kind of flirty, almost psychosexual take on that line reading in the original game. That scene I have seen in the new one, and it's just not as good. Yeah. It just doesn't hit.
There are definitely some scenes and even moments of the game that aren't quite as good. The biggest one that I can tell you offhand is the chase scene in the hospital basement or whatever.
The corridor, the twisting corridors.
Yes. You know the one. The way they did it in the original was cool. It doesn't quite hit as well in this one.
When you don't have fixed camera angles anymore.
It's entirely that. It really is. It's still fine. How they did it, and the scene where things happen in it is it's not quite as good. I don't know what it is about it. It's just kind of not as brutal or something. It's weird.
I do wish Eddie looked younger. I think Eddie looks like he's about 45, 50 years old. Yeah. And Eddie is supposed to be much younger. But also, I will say, the performance of the actor is very good. Yeah. But this is something I never would have bought in the original. He almost seems, and again, we lean on the country of Poland and people not really having an understanding of perhaps the DSM or whatever, but he seems autistic in this one. And I don't know that I like that.
I could see that take on it. I could see that getting that out of it. Later on, in his later scenes, he starts to come off as much more of a psychopath. Okay. Which is kind of what he is for the most part.
For sure. But I never felt bad for Eddie in the original game. Yeah. But having met him, I've only just, the throwing up sequence or whatever. I feel bad for the guy because there's that moment he shows some vulnerability where he says to James, "Hey, how about we just get out of here? Yeah. Let's just get out of here together." And the guy who plays James is very good. He's not. I don't think his line readings are as good as the guy in the original, as Guy Seehee or whatever, who I know is a nut job in real life. But he's very good, and he delivers the emotion, especially in that scene with Eddie, really well, where he's like, "No, I'm looking for someone. I gotta keep going." Yeah. And it's a believable thing. This remake, and I keep thinking about this, is this feels like if Blumhouse was gonna try to remake a prestige horror movie like let's say Rosemary's Baby. Okay. And they understood the assignment and they understood what made a movie like Rosemary's Baby perfect. Mm-hmm. But then things are just off. Something is just off about the whole thing. Right. And it just doesn't hit 100%.
I think a lot of it, though, is some of it is just lightning in a bottle for the original. I don't think you're ever going to fully capture that sort of thing again. I totally get the line read thing. Some of that, a lot of that is unintentional in the original though, because I don't know, there's something about that's just how voice acting was at the time, that's just how it was, but it worked super well for what they were doing, And now we have a more updated voice acting takes and stuff like that. So they have managed to kind of find a happy medium though, in my opinion, where it's
no pun intended, zing.
No pun intended. Yeah, I didn't even mean to. They managed to find that middle ground where it's it still maintains its kind of dreamlike state, but it's a newer take and delivery on it. Yeah, exactly. So good. It works.
It's very good. It really is very good. Silent Hill 2 Remake, very good. Is it better than I see this on Reddit all the time. People being like, "Well, this one's better than the original," and it's
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, by virtue of being a remake alone, it is an inferior product.
Yeah, well, and there's also I think that game holds up extremely well. I think if you fire up a PlayStation 2 and play that game right now, you're going to have a good time with it. But there are plenty of people who just were literally not alive when that game came out, who for them it's a big ask for them to enjoy games from that era.
And they never really re-released it or they put that HD thing out, but that was kind of a mess. And
I do wish that they had gone ahead and re-released that on modern consoles, alongside of it, just to have both versions out there.
Or just go, what would be fun to do is just have a Silent Hill 2 HD thing, remaster, just do it again, just try again, please, just have the original game. I mean, that would be cool. People have done that on PC. There is a version of it you can play where they fixed it and stuff like that,
and it's very good.
Yeah, it is really good. It is really good.
Excellent. And my buddy, he has a Patreon. He's an author, my buddy Todd Kiesling, and we did running commentary of all of the Silent Hill games together.
Right.
Did we do Downpour? No, we didn't do Downpour. We did up to what was the one before Downpour? No, we couldn't get that one to work. The one with the fake veteran, the Stolen Valor.
Homecoming.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we did up to Silent Hill 4, I guess. And it was a lot of fun to do it, but he played that version that you're talking about, the Silent Hill 2 like fan remaster, where all of the things that have very low probability of happening fucking happen.
Right.
Like going into the apartment and hearing the kill my wife, pick up the laundry, blah, 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 like the creepy whispering and stuff. All of that shit actually happens, like no matter what, which is really cool. But yeah, so like, and that's an excellent version of that game. It's not, you know, again, it's not better than the original, but it is a lovingly crafted by fans version of that game. I'm trying to think, and again, I really don't have a ton of negatives about the remake. I will say, I think the girl playing Angela is doing a great job.
Thank you. I was just going to be like, what are your thoughts on Angela? Because I think she's phenomenal. Like throughout the entire thing. Like actually, there are certain moments that you haven't gotten to yet that like I know you know are coming. Yeah. But like her delivery of it is amazing. Like I
look forward to it.
That's good. I really like do. That is one of the like, you know. So I mentioned on a previous episode, I played Silent Hill 2 when it came out. Mm-hmm. Finished it, and then I messed around with the HD version a little bit, and that is, you know, that's it. But the thing is that that game left an indelible mark on me, and the Angela stuff, in particular, is like that was like that moment where I was like, man, video games can go places, right? You know, and so that it's crucial that stuff, you know, lands.
Yeah, I think her voice actor just absolutely kills it. Nice. I think the one that, like, I think actually the weakest in the remake for me personally is Laura. I think she's great most of the time. But there's like a few parts where you're like, I don't know if that quite landed. Like
she's the one that looks the best. Like, you know, in terms of like modern versions of characters.
Right.
I think she looks the best. But I've seen little clips of her from like different videos and stuff, and it's like, we're not quite there.
Yeah, there's bits of like her like delivery and line reads, but you know, it's a kid, so I can't really judge it too harshly.
I always think of when you meet Angela in the cemetery, and she has that one part when she's looking at you and she's like, lost, like motherfucker, you know where you are, and the girl playing her in this new one nails it, and it's like, oh baby, did you play the game, sister? Like,
she kills it. She kills it the whole time. Yeah, just it's great.
And I hated the lead up to it where everybody was like, she doesn't look as good, blah blah blah. It's like, well, she looks 19.
She looks how she should look. Young. Yeah. She kind of looked like a weird, like 40-year-old lady in the original one, and then
Which works though.
It works. Yes,
considering what she's been through.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
But yeah, she does look older in the original game, and whereas Eddie looks younger in the original game, and in this one he looks much older.
Right.
James looks, I guess, about the same. Yeah, he probably, but you know, he's good. He's very good.
Yeah.
It is good, Julian. It's very good. Silent Hill 2 remake
it's good.
So it was one that I was not planning on picking up. I think initially I was like, well, I'm going to wait for reviews, and then, you know, also I'll probably wait for discount. Once the reviews hit, I was like, oh shit, like this actually seems like something worth picking up, and I actually have ordered it. I pre-ordered a PS5 Pro, and I gave my old PS5 to some friends, so I'm without my PS5 right now. So I'm waiting, but when my PS5 Pro comes in, Silent Hill 2 should be coming in around that same time. So that'll be a fun way to kick the tires on that sucker.
I think, and Justin, from watching it, you will probably get this as well. But like, I will say, even on that, and again, I'm not like hardo. I got to play this on the most extreme setting, bro.
Yeah.
I'm playing this on easy because I want to enjoy the story and I want to enjoy where this game's going to take me.
Yeah.
It is fucking hard. And I've been able, you know, I've gone through Silent Hill 2, like I said, a bazillion times. The amount of times I've needed to use health items, I can count on one hand.
Right. This
one, I'm almost after every single fucking fight, I need to use a health item. And I think I can't quite judge, and I think it's because of the camera and because I'm old, but I can't quite get the timing right with the melee because I don't want to use my bullets yet because they're a lot stingier with the bullets this time around.
For sure. Yeah.
And I'm just having a hard time. And also, this is another old man thing. I couldn't see a fucking thing until I turned on colorblind mode.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Because I am colorblind, but not like hardcore colorblind. Like I have a hard time with like greens and blues and reds and purples mostly. But I couldn't see shit in the apartment in the apartments. And then finally I looked at the settings and I was like, oh, colorblind mode, let's try that. And I was looking at the static image that they give you, which is James next to the well from the beginning of the game with the save point. And it just like made it glow. It made that red glow. And then finally I was in one of the long corridors in the apartment and I could finally see whatever was making my fucking radio go off at the far end of the hallway. And I was like, we nailed it. We got it. I need colorblind mode now. So it's good. It is very dark. And the changes they've made to the puzzles have all been really interesting. Like the coin puzzle.
That one's cool. The coin puzzle's real cool. Yeah.
Right? Like it worked nicely. And the juice thing, the whole thing with dropping the juice down the chute, like it's cool. Like it makes sense how they do it. And it's a lot of fun and it's interesting and it's just harder. It just seems harder and I'm dreading any kind of boss fight. I'm dreading the abstract daddy fight. Unless I've got a shotgun or a rifle, because then it'll be a little easier.
The way they did that one is pretty cool.
That's what I keep
pretty
hearing.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's the one that really fucks people up.
Yeah, it's pretty
not
cool.
like character-wise, but like emotionally and mentally.
It's something. It's something this time around.
And I mean, that's also probably a product of it switching focus, right? Like actual perspective. Because like I have found that with those Resident Evil remakes where, obviously with the original PlayStation 1 games, because they were so limited, it was basically just, hold down the button and point in the general direction of a zombie and hit the button and you're fine. Where now it's like, aiming in third person. And I've said it before, I don't like the feel of the RE Engine's shooting in those games. Well, not just the remakes, but also the newer ones. And the fact that like all the zombies just kind of have this like last second head juke that they do when you're aiming for the head. And it's like, you're fucking zombies. You don't know that you don't know that you should dodge a headshot. Like, give me a break.
They do that a little bit in this one too. So get ready for it. Yeah.
I've gotten thrown up on in Silent Hill 2 remake more times.
Yeah.
Like it's insane to me how many times it's happened. And I mean, I've gone through the original game and have never once gotten touched by anything. And even on like the regular setting, not just on easy. And I'm not saying this to be like I'm so good at video games, but it's just an indicator of like, no, this game is significantly harder.
It's tougher. Yeah, I believe it.
But it looks great.
Yeah. For
Glad I got a PS5.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Visiting scenic Silent Hill? Well, bring the whole family to the Lakeside Amusement Park. We guarantee that it's fun for all ages.
Hi, I'm Robbie the Rabbit. Come on down and take a spin on the merry-go-round, catch the view from our huge Ferris wheel, and play all sorts of neat arcade games.
Lakeside Amusement Park. So much fun, you'll never want to leave.
We'll make sure of it.
I have more questions actually about that. But before we get into that, it's time for Big Dumb Quiz. Hello.
Yeah, you hit the ground running.
Fuck you, it's Big Dumb Quiz. I'm Spence Sterling. Tonight, we have Rob Ottone, a horror novel writer from Long Island, New York, and Justin Ham, an egg timer craftsman from Erie, Indiana.
Well, he got his actual job. That's weird. Okay, anyway.
Fuck you, it's Big Dumb Quiz.
All right, sure, fine. Good.
First question for Rob. Rob, who is the author of the award-winning horror novel, The Vile Thing We Created?
Oh, that's me, Robert Ottone.
Judges? That's correct. Good job. Justin, your question.
Okay.
Who is the scarier movie monster? Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, or the alien from Alien?
That's a subjective question.
Answer the question.
You can't get...
It's Big Dumb Quiz. Answer the question.
I don't... But it's an opinion question, Spence. That doesn't make any... Okay, fine. All right, the alien, probably.
Judges? Oh, I'm sorry. That's incorrect.
Freddy Krueger's corny as shit.
Thank you for listening.
You're corny as shit.
Thank you for joining Big Dumb Quiz. I'm Spence Sterling.
I don't like it.
Good night.
No, bad night.
Candy corn E. Zing. Because I'm sponsored by candy corn.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Big candy corn.
Yeah, Rob let me know but before the show that he is now in the pocket of big candy corn. So
I see.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Right before the house.
Yeah. Oh, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I think I got to say, going back to the quiz, which was very fast. A lot of people really get flooded basements over Freddy Krueger, and I don't like. I hate Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Like, I would choose the alien over a guy who kills children any day of the week. Like, what a pussy! What a pussy! Oh,
that he's just kids. Like super cheesy and like kind of. I don't know what he's going for.
It's boring.
It almost sounds like the type of character that Spence Sterling would be really into. I don't know.
Well,
sounds like it. That guy was intense.
Yep.
So,
hold on, Julian. Hold on. Before we move on, we've done a lot of we've done a lot of things tonight. We've gotten to know Rob, and we moved on rather quickly, more quickly than I expected us to, from our introduction of him. And I've prepared a brand new sound clip for this bit, because Mr. Ottone, you are not immune. You are not immune.
My apologies.
To the 5 questions, and so we'll play the sound clip that I made.
Tell us how you do.
That's right. It's time for the 5 questions for you.
Rob's crying.
It's the hardest I've ever laughed on a podcast.
I'm glad everybody was willing to wait for me to show up so I could put this together, because I was like I got started a little bit later on it than I wanted to, and I was like, shit. All right, well, it's gonna be so good when I get it. Anyway, your first question, Rob Ottone. This is a yes or no question. Mm-hmm. Yes or no? That's it. That's the question. Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, I'm more of a no guy myself, but
fucking shocking.
Yeah, more of a no guy myself, but whatever. That's to each their own. Question number 2, and this is a personal question for me. What is the proper etiquette for the air hand dryers in bathrooms? So let me elaborate. I feel like, I'm going to guess what it is, in my opinion, that you should, use the air hand dryer until your hands are, for the most part, dry. They're never going to be fully dry with them, right? But recently I've noticed a trend where I work where people just use it for like 2 seconds, and I'm like, you might as well have just breathed on your hands. I don't understand. What are you doing? But am I wrong? What is the proper etiquette here?
I don't use them.
Oh, okay.
Like, I would rather take toilet paper and dry my hands.
Interesting.
I don't like those things because it's just blowing germs around.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. But
toilet paper's going to get all like soggy and stick to you, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but then you just eat it off your hands.
Sure, you can do that. That's a thing that you can do.
Woo! You'll get some leg tonight for sure.
Yep. This is good.
It's never not going to work.
It's good. It's good. I'm really into it. Oh, man. Anyway, question number 3 here, Rob. What's your most controversial opinion about the Harlem Globetrotters?
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of them. That might be controversial.
It is a bit. Yeah.
I love the Globetrotters. I've loved the Globetrotters my entire life.
Okay, that's fair. I think they're doing a little too much rule breaking myself. A little too much. You know, they're not
broken.
No. They're not enforcing the shot clock, Rob. All right, they're bringing extra members to shoot baskets. When they're adding extra members to the team out of nowhere. You can't just bring children from the crowd and have them shoot. That's illegal. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. That's very true. So maybe a more rule-driven version of a Harlem Globetrotters.
That's all I want. You know, the Washington Generals are getting fucked. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
You bet on the Washington Generals, didn't you, Justin?
I did not. I'm just upset. I feel bad for them. Okay, I just feel bad. Number 4. Do you want to know something funny?
Yes.
Okay. Question number 5. Have you ever declared yourself the president of savings?
Yeah, of course.
Who hasn't, right?
Yeah. Well, you're not living if you haven't.
Right. That's. I agree.
Tell us how you do.
You did it. You did it. Good job, Rob. We're all very proud of you.
That might have been the most successful 5 questions so far, Justin.
I think so. It's all thanks to the ghost of David Lee Roth.
Mm-hmm. May he rest in peace.
I'm glad that bit is going over. It's making me happy.
Oh my God.
There's at least one listener who's very annoyed right now, but it's fine.
And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not actually, but you know what?
Actually, 2, because Weston is listening to this and he's like, there's too many shenanigans going on in this episode.
Too much fun. Can't have it. Can't have it.
Nope.
So good.
So Rob, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up, because not the last time that you were on Nerds Without Pants, but I think the time before, you went on a blistering white-hot rant about the idea of video game remakes and that you should not fucking support them. So I was incredibly shocked when you said that you were playing the Silent Hill 2 remake and that you were loving it.
Yeah.
So
I know.
What happened? Was it just that the love of Silent Hill 2, it was too much, you had to know? Because that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is. If it was any other game remake, I'll tell you this, if who is it? Final Run. Who the fuck are they? The ones who are putting out Clock Tower. If they do, Rewind. I don't know. Clock Tower Rewind.
Okay.
If they were to do Clock Tower 2, my love of Clock Tower 2 would make me buy that remake.
I see.
But it really just came down to the fact that it's Silent Hill. It's not. There's no other remakes that I would really want to play of any game. Ever.
I have a question. What is it? Just Silent Hill 2, or would the other ones be? Would you be interested in the other ones, perhaps?
I'd be interested in the other ones without a doubt.
Fair. I think I would love to see 1 and 3 kind of remade in almost the same type package, because do the Cult Saga, and I've heard 4 is one of the most interesting ones, but they do a lot of weird decisions gameplay wise, so that's why people don't really care for it or something. I'm very unfamiliar with 4.
4 is my second favorite.
Yeah, it from all accounts, like story wise and tone wise, it's super interesting. It's all like the actual gameplay itself that people get upset about.
I locked myself into a fail state on 4
Yeah.
where I could not progress.
Yeah, like every piece of ammo takes up a part of your inventory and stuff like that, and like they do a lot of weird shit apparently. So
well, and if there's one particular thing that you can do to yourself and not know it that will result in you not be like basically your safe room no longer being safe, which is where you would like regenerate health. And that was not open to me anymore, and I didn't have any healing items, and I was almost dead, and there was no way for me. Like I tried like 5 or 6 times to like make it through the next segment, and just could not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But at the same time, like that's kind of a pretty brave decision. Like I kind of respect it. Yeah. It's just that at the time, like like that was I was still like at Game Fellas where I was like, churning through games like super fast. So I was like, well, I'm just going to move on to the next game.
Yeah.
I think if I played that now, I would be like, okay, so I just got to start over. Like, now I know that. So we'll see how this goes.
That makes sense.
I think if they were to remake 4, they would probably get rid of that inventory system. Because there's no way that they could do that now.
Right.
But like, yeah, I would be all in on a 3 and 4 remake. 1, sure, but like Shattered Memories, it's a nice remake of it. But again,
Shattered Memories is more of like a reimagining of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
like
cool.
Yeah, I feel like if you can't remake 3 without remaking 1 because they tie in so close. So like
one package.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, one package.
Well, I'd be into that. I'd buy that 100%.
Now, I do have another question that I just thought of. What about remakes of games that you have never played before?
That's a good question. Oh, well, I pre-ordered the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, and I've never played those games, but I played games like them, and I played games inspired by them, so I know what to expect. But when I saw that was a thing that I could pre-order, I did right away. I've got a lot of games that I pre-ordered that my wife doesn't need to know about. So
yeah, we won't. Don't let her listen to this. Don't tell her.
Like I didn't even know that there was a new Dragon Age coming out until about 2 weeks ago. My buddy Cody told me about it. He's the one I played Silent Hill: The Short Message with, and so I pre-ordered that. I'm looking forward to returning to Thetis and being likely disappointed.
Probably, yeah. It's entirely possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though what's it called? The other one. What's the one with you put your hand into the sky and it blasts.
Inquisition.
There you go. That one was not bad. Wasn't
it's
terrible.
Fine. Yeah, it goes on a little long, but it's fine. Yeah.
It and there's a fucking musical number in the middle of it. Remember that shit?
I don't know that you mention it.
When you go from your first base to Skyhold.
Yeah.
Oh, the Inquisitor. It's like,
I forgot about that.
Where's the skip button for this?
Yeah, no, they gotta traverse the mountains and such. That's what they gotta do.
I'd rather be waterboarded than listen to that shit again.
Yeah. But I liked the tavern songs. They were cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they were good.
Those were great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I got that coming out. But yeah, if they did legitimately, if they released any more Silent Hill remakes, I'd be in day one. And
okay,
I bought the physical copy of Silent Hill 2 because I like having the actual disc.
That makes sense.
I know if I pre-ordered the digital version, I could have played it 2 days early, but it wouldn't have fucking mattered to me anyway because I don't give a shit.
Right.
So like, I'm very happy I got it. I also don't care about putting like a Mira head on James or a Pyramid Head.
Oh no, yeah,
I've always
that
found
was also one
weird.
of the things that I was really concerned about. Like before the game came out, I was like, oh no. But the reason I asked, Rob, is because there is a remake that came out very recently that is like one of those like, who is this for? And I realized it is for people who didn't play the original. But continuing with like the horror theme. And also you being a writer,
Alan Wake.
Well, actually, Alan Wake 2 for sure. Like you should pick up, but I think you should check out Until Dawn Because,
I have Until Dawn. I played that on PS4.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I figured you would not have played that because it was on a PlayStation game. So like,
Yeah, a buddy of mine gave me his PS4 and
okay.
I played
Excellent.
it, and I loved it. It was great. I was really annoyed at myself that I got one person killed right at the fucking end. That pissed me off because I was so close to everybody getting out.
Right.
I hate what's his face, the Freddie Mercury. I don't like that guy at all.
I know. I forget. I forget his name.
Yeah, I like one movie that he's in. Other than that, I find him off-putting to look at. But like, I just I really liked Until Dawn, and so much so that I bought The Quarry. That was like the second PlayStation 5 game that I bought. Because I know those guys can be trusted. Like, those guys make good games. They did like the Man of Medan, which I thought was really boring. But the other ones are on PlayStation Plus for free.
Yeah, there's a good amount of them now.
Yeah, I need to get caught up. I've only played Man of Medan and Little Hope.
Yeah.
Little Hope I heard is good.
It's solid up until the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it doesn't stick the landing.
Sounds like most modern horror movies.
Fair enough.
Solid until the last 10 minutes or so.
Right.
Yeah.
But I loved Until Dawn. I think it's weird that an Until Dawn movie has been made. I think that's fucking bizarre. But okay.
Really?
Yeah, the guy who made the first. He made both. The guy who directed both Shazam movies, David Sandberg, he shot it over in like Czechoslovakia or some shit. And they just finished shooting it. And the only reason I know about it is because he posted a picture of like everybody in a mirror, but the mirror's all gross and fucked up. And it says Until Dawn, director David Sandberg. And I was like, well, I like that guy. And I like Until Dawn.
Yeah.
I'm obviously little Hayden Panettiere is not going to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And neither is Rami Malek, Oscar winner. But like, cool. Like this could be fun. This will be fun. I hope Larry Fessenden is in it because he's like the darling of of New York horror. Not darling, but he's like a legend in New York horror. And like, it would be kind of lame if he doesn't get to be the flamethrower guy like he was in the game. And the fact that he like co-wrote the game, like he should be in the movie, and I'm going to be disappointed if he's not. But
that is a weird choice simply because Until Dawn is already so movie-like to begin with. Like it's like I don't really feel like I need that. Like I got it. Like
it's probably not for you. It's probably for people that have no idea what it is and will watch the movie of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario is it comes out on a streaming service and it just does gangbusters, which I hope it does because I really do like that David Sandberg guy. Even though I didn't like Shazam 2, I really loved Shazam 1.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like him. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's interesting. I think he makes interesting movies for the most part. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope Until Dawn, the movie is even if it's like half as good as the game, it'll be pretty damn good because that game is scary as shit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. I thought that one would have been one of those that passed you by since, I didn't realize you had played anything on PS4. So okay, that's cool. So that is not a remake for you because it's pointless if you've played the PS4 version. Like
I've heard it's like not as good too. Like I heard it's not a very good remake. Like just period.
Well, it's got some weird technical issues that's going on.
It's something like that. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything good about it. I'd put it like that. So yeah.
I pre-ordered. And I had no intention of pre-ordering this game because I'm not that excited. But I thought all the cute bonuses that came with it were too adorable to say no to. That Retro Realms, Halloween, and Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah.
game.
So we found out last week when we talked to Megan McDuffie, who does our theme song, that she did the music for both of those. So they're on my radar as well for that. So.
That's awesome. Good. All right. So I'm glad I'm getting it then, because in some small way, at least, maybe it supports her a little bit. But like, I mean, no offense to Megan, I couldn't give less of a fuck about a side-scrolling Halloween game. Like, I don't want to necessarily play that game, but I do like all the cute little extras that come with it. And now knowing that she did the music, I'm more interested in it for sure.
Yeah.
But like, my buddy Cody was like, "Hey, did you see this?" And because he's been my pusher with the PS5 lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's cool that it comes out on Halloween Day. But same as the new Dragon Age game, which is why would that come out on Halloween? But okay. And so those games, the new Clock Tower, or not the new Clock Tower, but the remake of the original Super Nintendo Clock Tower, I'm going to be getting. Suikoden 1 and 2, Retro Realms, Halloween. Oh, I know that there's going to be another Halloween video game coming out because they announced the Retro Realms one, and then there's another one. And you know, I really loved the Friday the 13th game that Gunn made. Like I sincerely loved that game. Like that game was chef's kiss, exactly what I would want for a Friday the 13th game.
Yeah.
And I got their Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, and I do not like it nearly as much as I liked Friday the 13th, because the idea of there being 3 villains and like 4 victims or whatever seems wildly unbalanced to me. And I also don't like these extra villains that they put in, like here's a cousin who's like hot like a girl, and here's a guy who just punches you until you stops moving, and here's a guy with a knife. It's like, who the fuck are these people? Where's Chop Top? Where's the fucking, like, the hitchhiker's there, Leatherface is there, the chef is there. Pay the money and bring out Chop Top. Pay the money and bring out the female Leatherface from the one with Matthew McConaughey. Like, what are we doing here? Who are these shitty characters? This is fucking lame. And so I don't love it as much. It was also very hard for me to get the hang of. So, and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's a perfectly cromulent game. So that one's been pretty fun to play.
Okay.
Sort of fun. Should I tell you about other games that I've been enjoying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Julian, you know, like the kind of games that I really get like stuck into, but I played a game called Empire of Sin, and it is a 1920s mobster game.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
By John Romero and his wife.
I've been wanting to check that one out and haven't gotten around to it.
It's fucking awesome. It's so good. I loved it. I couldn't stop playing it. I couldn't get enough of it. And I took over Chicago. I killed Al Capone in a particularly brutal way.
Nice.
That was cool.
I heard he's a really good guy. That he was like a really awesome guy.
Yeah, he totally didn't die of syphilis in prison.
Yeah.
But the game itself is fun. It's like XCOM meets the like controlling neighborhoods and rackets like in the Godfather 2 video game, if you remember that.
Yeah.
It combines both of these things, and it's like, well, I love XCOM. Well, I loved that part of Godfather 2, so this is like peanut butter and chocolate for me, baby. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good. And again, free on PlayStation Plus. So like, that's a lot of fun. There's like extra content supposedly coming out for it, which I might spring for.
Interesting.
Just because I enjoyed it so much. I'm itching to find something like it. And of course, I'm not finding anything like it. And it's like, oh, we also recommend XCOM 2. And it's like, well, I fucking hated XCOM 2, so I will not be playing through that game again. But that's been one that I've been really, really into. I just started tonight. RoboCop Rogue City.
Oh God. Okay.
And I sort of teased this earlier when Julian and I were talking before you came. I've never felt more powerful in a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want, right? Like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like you want to be RoboCop. Like you want people to piss themselves when you walk in the room as RoboCop. And I do find, I don't know, maybe I'm looking at this. I think I don't know. So I have this like, because I've been reading comic books my whole life. Like, if you saw Superman in real life, you would just probably start crying because it would be like witnessing a Christ figure.
Right.
And it would be like, oh my God, like everything's going to be okay. Like, this is Superman. And you might want to hug him, which he would be fine with because he's Superman. Like, if you see Batman, you're going to be like, I'm fucked. Like, I'm going to have a femur broken. Something bad's about to happen.
Right.
When you see RoboCop come in, it has to be a mix between the two.
Right.
And there's interesting parts when you're walking around in sort of like a free, you know, I guess like they give you like blocks of the city.
Yeah, they're kind of like, it's semi-open world a little bit. Yeah.
And it's fun. And like you walk past these people, and one of the coolest things that happens right at the beginning of the game is you're going in and dealing with a hostage situation. And as you're walking in, some of these people don't see you yet, but they go, oh my God, the ground is shaking. And it's like,
Nice.
It's like, yeah, motherfucker, you know why the ground is shaking. And it's just it's so cool. And there's a part where you walk past a couple in like a rough part of Detroit. And the husband is like a little anxious and nervous and looking around, and the wife looks fine. She's like, see, baby, RoboCop's here. It's fine.
Right.
And it's like, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. But then like the sheer power of just going into a room against a bunch of like thugs who, by the way, all give me Matthew Lillard vibes, like SLC Punk Matthew Lillard vibes.
Right.
That's right.
And just blasting these fuckers away. It feels so good. Like watching their heads just explode. Yeah.
Did they nail the sound of the gun? 'Cause that's key.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like other guns you could pick up. Like there's assault rifles that these guys have and SMGs. But then there's a really cool thing where they have like a mounted machine gun, and you just rip it right off the thing. And you can just walk through and it's like, it's like, I feel like RoboCop. And like when they do damage to you, like, yeah, you take damage, whatever. But there's so much health everywhere that it's like, you can't stop him. You just can't. And it seems like the mere presence of RoboCop should be enough for these guys to be like, okay, no problem. I'm going to stop doing drugs. I'll go to jail now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so, and they nailed the like Paul Verhoeven-y world of RoboCop that they maybe didn't nail with RoboCop 3, or certainly not the RoboCop remake.
Right.
But it is so good. And you know, I've been playing video games since I was a little guy, let's say for 37 years. In 37 years of playing video games, I've never felt as powerful in a game than I do in RoboCop Rogue City.
Wow.
Great. Yeah, no, that's what you want. Like, so I recently played like Warhammer Space Marine 2. And it's a similar thing where you feel really powerful. And I've been thinking about that a lot in comparison to those High Moon Studios Transformers games, because as much as I loved those two Cybertron games, the one thing that they did not nail is like Optimus Prime should not die in like 4 or 5 hits. Like, it just should not happen. Like, I get if like you want to make like, you know, your smaller bots like that squishy, but like when you get to play like Optimus or Megatron or Grimlock in the second one, you should feel like nigh unstoppable unless you're fighting someone close to their level, right?
Correct.
And those games didn't do that because they were balanced for multiplayer, and I think that was the big mistake on those. So it's good. I'm glad that they have that for RoboCop, especially, Rob, you and I have kind of talked over the years, like many years, like on the old show and everything, like back and forth about like Superman. What do you do with a Superman game? You know, and I think we've both agreed that like one thing is that like you don't even bother with like health. Right.
No.
Like and the Superman Returns game, that is the one thing that they nailed on that, is that it was the health of the city that was like your your fail state. Yeah. But I also thought like it'd be like, I was thinking about this more as I kind of extrapolated. It's like you don't bring health into the equation until you fight Metallo, like kind of later in the game. And then you have like the big bad of the game is a magic based character who then summons like a bunch of magic creatures. And now it's an issue because that is something that Superman is susceptible to. Yep. So all of a sudden now you're actually having to worry about that, where you didn't have to until then.
Superman has to fight Randy Pitchford at the end, and it's just a big bad thing that happens.
Like a nuclear weapon
by stealing his USB stick with porn on it.
Yes, exactly.
Nuclear weapon. Maybe at a certain point in the game, Superman gets hit with a nuke and it drains all of his life, like it does in The Dark Knight Returns. And even if you didn't want to do health pickups or anything, it's just rays of sunlight through the clouds. It's just as easy as that, but it's the RoboCop thing. Oh, this this is a really funny, not so subtle thing that the RoboCop game did. I was in an apartment building blasting away Matthew Lillards everywhere, and I came to an elevator shaft, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. And I turned around and looked, and then a little hint popped up, and it says, hint, Robo does not take fall damage.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, here we go. And I came down, and he comes down, and the ground cracks under him because he's heavy, obviously, and fucking robot. And then he stands up, and you hear the bad guys go, what was that? Oh my God, it's the Tin Man. And they all start freaking out, and then they're all blasting at you, and it's like, your move, creep. Yep. Oh my God, it's fucking hot. And there's dialogue tree stuff.
That
you can
shit's
invest
funny.
in his it's not called charisma. I mean, in any other game, it would be charisma.
I can't remember what it's called, but I know it. Yeah.
Humanity, maybe?
it's something like that. But you invest points in it, and I've been pumping them all into that because it's I feel invincible enough in this game. I don't need anything else right now. And it opens up alternative things. I got two guys to kill themselves by choosing RoboCop essentially saying well, one of you is a mole and the other one is not. And then they start arguing, and then boom, they shoot each other. And it's
nice.
All right.
Look,
I feel like that's the thing Robo would do.
Right.
I know that it's not cool to say, but at the end of the day, I love the fact that anytime that you play a game, or at least anytime that I've played a game where there's a ability to put points into speechcraft, that invariably there is a part in said game where I can cause somebody to off themselves with my words.
Oh man.
Right? I fucking love it. I have never fought the first phase of the final boss in Mass Effect 1. I've never done it. Never seen it.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting Saren to blow his brains out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I did that. I did that 3 or 4 different times in Baldur's Gate 3, and it was great every time I did it.
Yeah. I mean, one of them is a little bit different, where there's the one where you're having the drinking session with the guy where you just kind of have to drink him under the table, but it's still all kind of speech and constitution based.
What's funny is that's the one I didn't do it for because I didn't catch on that I could do it.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to fight that guy, and then the other ones I just was like, oh, I see what we're doing here, and then I nailed it every time. But yeah, that one I missed for whatever reason.
Yeah.
There's also kind of cool part, the hub world of the game is the police station.
Yes.
And it's just cool to have RoboCop walk around because he eavesdrops, as the player, you're eavesdropping on what your fellow officers are saying.
Right.
And after the first mission, there's these two guys talking in the locker room, and the one guy's like, "We are so lucky Murphy was there." He's like, "If Murphy wasn't there, we'd all be dead." He's
right.
And the game basically opens up with 21 cops have been murdered in Detroit since this new guy is in town, this new bad guy.
Right.
Who nobody knows who he is. So when, RoboCop and Lewis is in the game, which is awesome, and she's great. I don't know if it's the same actress. It's definitely Murphy.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I had heard that.
Yeah, which is dope. Because it's oh, cool, you're just RoboCop again, and you're perfect as you were 40 years ago or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know if it's the same woman playing Lewis, but the writing for her is Lewis all day. She's like, hey, you don't have to wait for me. You can walk through that wall of fire. I'll find another way, and I'll meet you up there, kind of thing. And it's oh, she gets it. And then their dynamic together is really cool because there's a part where, another, an OCP schmuck is like, Lewis, it's a good thing RoboCop was there to protect you or whatever. And Murphy goes, and Lewis performed bravely. And he just like sticks up for her. And it's like, yeah, that's the humanity of RoboCop. But they also do like him having flashbacks to his wife. And it's almost like Spec Ops: The Line and how fucking dark it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
And I did not expect this. My buddy was like, dude, you play as RoboCop, but it's badass. That's the only way he sold it to me.
Right.
But he did not sell the whole, oh, this is a person in there thing.
Right.
Like the actual, like, what RoboCop's about, you know? I showed my wife RoboCop for the first time, like, last year.
Yeah.
And she was like, I did not expect this movie to be this good. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how? It's
Right.
Paul Verhoeven, Basil Polduris doing the music. What are you talking about? This shit is perfect.
I think one of my favorite bits from just what I've seen of it is just RoboCop working the front desk of the police station. That shit's great. It's just so silly. It's just dumb.
Tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
A fucking graffiti guy.
Yeah.
It's so good. Everything about it is so good, and it's just so perfectly on the nose. It feels like Ed Neumeyer wrote the game. I don't know if he did, but like the level of satire, whoever wrote that fucking game, get that guy on like an HBO RoboCop miniseries or something. Because
they knew the essence of it for sure. They knew what they had to hit. Yeah, and they really did. It's probably, I would dare say, the best RoboCop game actually, because I can't think of a better one, like offhand anyway.
I think it's already, and I'm not even done with it. I think it's a better RoboCop sequel than any of the sequels that we've gotten.
Nice.
It feels like it takes place in that world.
Right.
Even to the point where they have the president of OCP, they have his likeness. He doesn't sound like him.
Right.
They have his actual likeness, which is very cool.
Right.
Yeah. You sold me on that one. It's one that I've kind of been like, eyeing since it came out, but never really like pulled the trigger on. No pun intended. I
was gonna say it's been on my Steam wish list for like ever now. So yeah.
I can't recommend it enough. Like, just unbelievable. It might be, of the games that I've played this year, which there haven't really been that many, but it might be my favorite. Yeah, I think it's my favorite. I like it. I loved Empire of Sin. But it had kind of a whimper of an ending. Yeah. I don't think there's any way that this game is going to have a whimper of it. It's RoboCop.
It's pretty, I have seen how it ends. It is pretty cool. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know what? I'm, and I've always felt this way because when they show up in the movie, I'm like, but I'm dreading when an Ed 209 shows up. Right. Because I'm going to piss myself. I have a thing about like, the ships in Terminator 2 have always scared the shit out of me, and Ed 209 has always scared the shit out of me. And I'm just like, I'm not looking forward to that at all.
No, I get it. Yeah, like it's funny you say that because I was I've been watching doing a rewatch of the Alien series this week, and I watched Aliens the other day, which holy shit, guys, the 4K transfer of Aliens is fucking incredible. And I was just watching it on streaming on Hulu, so I can't even imagine what it looks like on the actual disc.
I can't watch it. Can't do it.
Why not?
They used AI.
Did they on that one? Oh, that was a James Cameron one, wasn't it? Well, this one looks really good.
I'm sure.
Because I had seen like a lot of analysis of like True Lies that looked like actually actively bad, but this looked really incredible. I've been really big on practical effects lately, and just the stuff in Aliens, it just looks so cool and like holds up so well. And yeah, like there is stuff like not even just the aliens, but like the tech itself is like I would be terrified to like be faced with like a power loader. Like if someone was in a power loader and like wanting to do me harm, like I'd be like, I don't want any part of that. Like,
Drake and Vasquez show up with those fucking smart guns.
Oh yeah, man, those things are so fucking cool.
Go like this. Bye. Thanks so much. See you later. Like, you're not. Those things are ridiculous. I remember playing Alien vs. Predator online on my computer, and those guns were banned because they were like auto tracking.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
like if you use the smart gun, they fucking boot you from the server, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. But like, yeah, no, every tech thing in like a James Cameron production always looks so good. I said this on another podcast where I was like, there's very few like masters in filmmaking, but like James Cameron's one of them.
Yeah.
You know,
like that mech at the end of Avatar that the the military guy is
awesome.
using. Yeah, with the knife, like it's so cool. Like I'm not the hugest fan of that movie, but
everything in Avatar looks awesome. Like the Avatar movies are great. I know people are like, oh, I don't like. Well, cool, great, but those movies are great. Like they're fun.
I liked it fine. Like I wasn't over the moon for it, but like the visuals and definitely the tech. Like I loved the tech. I didn't see the second one.
I admittedly got bored about a half hour into it and never watched it. I will tell the story to you, Rob. I watched it with my mother, who was very adamant that because she really liked it, and I was like, okay, all right. I haven't seen it yet. And we got about, it might have been a little longer than half an hour, might have been 45 minutes. And I stopped the movie and I said, let me tell you exactly what the rest of this movie is. And I listed off point by point what happened to her. And she went, yeah, that is what happens. I was like, great, don't need to see anymore, thanks. And I turned it off. And that was the story of that.
I just appreciate, like, how long it takes to make one of those movies.
Yeah. I think a part of it was I was watching it on a laptop and not in a movie theater. I'm here for like, okay, is there a good story? And I'm like, no, this it's definitely a theater movie, and I missed out on that whole thing. So what are you gonna do?
It's like, I forget who it was that had the quote about like, oh yeah, isn't it great? We can all watch Lawrence of Arabia on our iPhones. Like, it's just not the same experience, But like,
for sure.
Even Avatar 2, I like. My wife did not. She loves the first one. She did not like the second one. But
interesting.
We were talking about the idea of aliens and whatnot. But like, I've been obsessed with Prometheus and Covenant lately, and I watched Covenant for like the third time in as many months the other day when my wife wasn't. I haven't told her because she knows like when I watch Alien Covenant, I get way into like David mode. Because I think David's the best character in the history of the Alien franchise. I know everyone gets wet for Ripley, and that's great. But, like, I'm a David guy.
Okay.
I love, like, his cold analysis and the fact that he literally creates the xenomorph, I think is the coolest shit ever. And everything about him is just so much fun, and he's so cool and so sneaky and so devious. And it's like, there's never going to be a cooler android in an alien movie ever. And like, it sucks too, because I really wanted to see Alien Romulus until I heard they used AI to bring back Ian Holm, and like, now I can't do it. And my wife makes fun of me because she's like, you're missing out on Late Night with the Devil because they used AI in that. You're missing out on Alien Romulus because and I'm like, well, stand for something or fall for everything, for Christ's sake. Like, I have to,
Let me ask you, because I'm right there with you on fuck the AI shit. But
yeah,
was it actual AI or was it just like CG like they did with like Grand Moff Tarkin and Leia?
Oh, if it was that, I would have been all in. But no, they said that they used AI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
fuck that.
There's only one case that I actually kind of appreciated the AI voice acting thing, and that was Cyberpunk, because the guy who played, there's a character named Victor Vega. He died. He passed away, and they needed to like, they wanted him to like keep. They made more Cyberpunk, and basically they reached out to like, they were like, this sucks that we can't get him back to do all this stuff, and I think they reached out to his family. It was like, we really want to do this and all this stuff. It was like a kind of a mutual thing, and like I was like, I guess that's kind of cool. But I don't know, it's weird. It's most of the time weird. Yeah.
Hire a new guy. It's like they didn't get AI to do fucking Red Skull in Avengers Endgame. They just got the schmuck from The Walking Dead to do a good impression of him.
I don't know. It wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been the same though. I don't know. It's hard to say, you know.
With a thing like that, if you know they've gotten the blessing and like the family's being compensated, right? Like I think that's where a lot of this
I'm pretty
shit,
sure they did get paid for it.
Like,
so yeah,
like the big slippery slope is like, well, now like we hired you once, and so now we've got you like.
That's
that's
a bridge too far. Yes, absolutely.
That's what James Earl Jones licensed his voice out forever to Disney to do whatever the fuck they want with Darth Vader, and it's like, I don't know, man. Tezande is still alive. Get that motherfucker behind a mic. Like, do we need James Earl Jones? Didn't Tezande play Darth Vader in a fucking one of the Star Wars games, and he was really good?
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure he was Darth Vader in the one with I'm the apprentice and I can throw people around and shit.
The
Unleashed.
There you go. I'm pretty sure that's Tezande playing Darth Vader in that.
Oh, I had no idea. That's pretty cool.
It's entirely
and
possible.
The guy's got a great voice. He sounds exactly like James Earl Jones, and he's still 6 feet above ground last time I checked. So I don't know. It's just it really rubs me the wrong way, and like from like the creative angle, especially, it really rubs me the wrong way.
I think Star Wars in particular, right? Like actually even Indiana Jones, right? Like they're almost chained to the original actors' likenesses, and it's like at a certain point, it's like you need to go ahead and just recast those roles if you want to use those characters again, right? Because the characters exist, you know, they're timeless, right? They're always going to be part of Star Wars, but the actors, you know, are dying, and so at a certain point, they're none of them are going to be available. And,
right.
It's even the same thing with like the Star Wars novels, right? I used to be a big fan of the Star Wars novels, and it's like all of the covers were like, you know, they would draw like Han and Leia and Luke as close, you know, as close to the actors' likenesses as possible, right? Like they're always just really detailed paintings, and I used to think like that's neat, but like I kind of just want them to be like Han, Luke, and Leia, and like they don't need to look like the actors for me to know that they're Han, Luke, and Leia. Like I've read Star Wars comics, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a weird thing. Like that upcoming Indiana Jones game for Xbox, right? Like they really want you to see how lovingly they recreated like Harrison Ford's likeness.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but it's a first person game anyway, so like it's fine. Like you could have just done a guy.
But
like Indiana Jones.
It's first person, but they did all those fucking scenes and shit for it.
I know.
They're real into that. I don't know. That game doesn't look very interesting to me, but who knows?
Same.
Hard to say.
I don't know. I just.
I get it.
Do we need more Indiana Jones? I mean, really?
No, we don't.
Oh no, I've never been a big fan of it. So.
Same.
Do we need more? I mean, realistically, do we need more Star Wars?
Right now, no. Like
probably not.
So I was thinking about this actually when I was playing Star Wars Outlaws, because I did thoroughly enjoy that game. But I realized part of my issue with, I mean, there's a lot of deep issues that I have with Star Wars that I've mentioned that have nothing to do with like the output of Disney and stuff like that. It's purely personal. Yeah. But I realized what it was, and it's that I think Star Wars as a franchise can support a live action show, right? Whether you want that to be like an ongoing thing or like a long miniseries, right? Or like a miniseries at a time. It can support an animated series, and then a movie that comes out maybe every 3 or 4 years. Not 3 to 4 series coming out every year and then a movie coming out every year.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of my big thing with it, is that it doesn't feel special anymore. Right. Like Star Wars movies like used to be an event for me. Right. Like, and it's just like, yeah, like, and I mean, you know, to their credit, I don't know what is the next like Star Wars movie planned or anything like that. But like
the Mandalorian movie.
Oh, okay. Like the only thing that would probably like get me like excited to get my butt in the theater for a Star Wars movie again would be a sequel to Solo, because I genuinely loved Solo.
Solo is excellent.
Yeah, and I wanted more of that.
After Rogue One, it's the best of those movies that they did. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Solo is so fucking good. I remember seeing Solo and being like, why do people not like this?
Yeah,
because
I was just gonna say, I was
Star
like, everybody hated it. Apparently, I didn't see it, so
It was as close to the old Star Wars movies as we've gotten with anything Star Wars.
Interesting.
But,
Yeah.
and I think that's a testament to Ron Howard being almost a master filmmaker, because it's like, dude, you were brought in to do a job that nobody wanted after the two guys who did 21 Jump Street got shit canned from this movie. And you made a movie that's really fucking good and really smart and really funny. And fucking, what's his face as Lando?
Oh, yeah.
Donald Glover. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, perfect. And the kid who plays Solo, who was in the movie, he made the nuke, Oppenheimer. He was in Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Alden Ehrenreich, I think is his name. Or Alden Ehrenreich, something like that. He's excellent as Solo, and he's been excellent in like every movie I've seen him in. And it's like, this movie is very unfairly judged and looked at. And I'm so glad you said that, because Solo is excellent.
Yeah. And it set up like such an interesting sequel. And yeah, like I definitely wanted more. And I think they are still supposed to be doing a Lando movie with Donald Glover. So at least there's that. But
yeah.
I wanted more of them together, right? Like you want to see that, right? You want to see like the buddy movie with them, at least one where they're on the Falcon together for the majority of the movie, right? Like that, you want that, and
absolutely,
we were fucking robbed of it.
And I think like I agree with you, and it's the same way with the superhero stuff on both sides, DC and Marvel. It's like the best thing is every couple of years. Every 3 years, we get something. We don't need it all right away. Like, I'm excited for the new, like, Daredevil show to come back, like, because I thoroughly enjoyed that program when it was on. But, and Julian, as you know, I'm exceedingly excited for Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Because, as you know, I love the Fantastic Four. But, like, I don't like other things that have happened.
I think so. I'm still fine with 2 to 3 movies. Although I have enjoyed this, like the last couple years, it's been less than that, and it's been. But I'm fine with 2 to 3 movies a year with no TV, right? But there's been so many TV shows over the last few years that have really exhausted me, and I haven't seen the last few Marvel series, that's a big deal for me.
I've never seen a single one, other than the Daredevil Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Right.
And Iron Fist.
I've seen the Daredevil Netflix show.
Yeah. Like I don't care about the witch character. I don't give a shit. I don't care about Scarlet Witch doing anything. I just don't care. I don't care about these people. I don't fucking care. I didn't care. I love Moon Knight. Didn't give a shit about Moon Knight. Didn't watch it. Don't care. I don't want Oscar Isaac wasting his time playing a fucking superhero. Just like I don't want Adam Driver wasting his time in Star Wars stuff. I want these guys who are like legitimately good actors to be doing legitimately good things. Like, what's his face? There's that Kraven the Hunter, which is going to be a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And like, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
I like Kick-Ass. I want him doing other things. And the craziest thing to me is that the guy, he's in the new Wolfman movie. He was on Girls. He played Charlie on Girls. I can't remember his name. I just had it. I can't remember. But he's like one of our finest young actors. He's in Kraven the Hunter. And it's like, why? Why are you in this? I get it. It's probably a nice paycheck. I get it. But like, be making movies with Scorsese, or like make movies with David Gordon Green. Do any fucking other thing than these, because at the end of the day, nobody's gonna give a shit about those. People are gonna care like when you're winning Oscars and like really honing your craft. I don't know. Like that's the shit that drives me nuts. Like when Adam Driver was gonna be in, when they announced that he was gonna be in Star Wars, I was like, really like him. And I'm excited that he's going to be in this, but I really don't want him wasting his time doing fucking Star Wars movies. And I don't think he wanted to be wasting his time doing Star Wars movies either, if you ever look at any of his red carpet walks. He looks miserable.
Well, that was my introduction to him, and now my thing is that I just want him to get to do more comedy instead of being pigeonholed into like action stuff, because he's a very funny man. And like Logan Lucky was like an awesome movie. His SNL appearances are always kill. So I want more of that stuff from him.
Yeah. I love his intensity and stuff. I just want to see all of that shit. Like I like when these guys do genre. You know, I like when they do genre work. I like when they do horror. I like when they do science fiction, but like hard science fiction, not like dumb shit fuck science fiction. Not like him fighting dinosaurs with a machine gun. Like that's not. No. Stupid. But like put him in like a Solaris type, science fiction, or like a Logan's Run type hard science fiction.
Logan's Run is a movie that desperately needs like a modern interpretation. I love Logan's Run, but like I would love to see what people do with it today.
Absolutely. And I don't know. I think I think it's good that we're not getting as many things as we were, because it makes us want it more.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I have enjoyed this break. I've only there was only one Marvel movie that came out this year, and I watched it, and it was fine. And
what was it?
Deadpool Wolverine.
I didn't see that.
That's the only one that came out this year. And then I think there's only one next year, but it's one that I'm actually actively excited for, which is the new Captain America movie with Sam Wilson as Cap.
Yeah.
So
it might be a case where, companies have just kind of realized that, hey, if we put too many of these things out, people will get sick of it eventually.
I don't think it is. It's literally just that like scheduling got really fucked up through the pandemic, and it's still affecting things. Like, and then and the other big thing is that the dude that was playing Kang turned out to be an asshole.
Oh, right.
So that fucked up all their
mess
plans.
Up a bunch of shit. Yeah.
Right. My thing was like just recast the character. Like
it'd be fine. Yeah.
Like I don't.
Probably
they've recast plenty of times. Like literally, like the new Captain America movie has like Thunderbolt Ross recast because the actor died. Like it's not. People get it. Like it's fine.
It's okay.
They recast War Machine.
Yeah, in like after the first appearance.
Right.
So yeah, it's not a big deal.
Not hard to find a really great actor. I mean, he's a very good actor, that guy. But
there's other great actors that could do it. So yeah.
Hard. Get the fucking guy from you want to replace him. Get the guy from Get Out. No, he was in Black Panther.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's an issue. Like they're starting to recast people in different roles because Mashahara Ali is supposed to play Blade, but he was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Oh yeah, true. That movie got canceled. Blade.
Not canceled. It's like on indefinite hold. But yeah, it's basically like it's not happening.
Bye.
Yeah, which is a shame because he would have killed it. Like that would have been an awesome.
He's another one. I don't want him wasting time wearing a black leather jacket and using a sword. This guy is a fucking Oscar winner.
Yeah.
Work with directors that matter. Stop doing this shit. Leave this for like the young 20-somethings who need a breakout role. Leave the Marvel shit for that. Which
I'll push back on that. I'll push back on that a little bit simply because like I think the problem is that Disney has tried to cut corners everywhere they can as far as they're not getting like the big directors anymore, where they started out with getting like really excellent directors. Kenneth Branagh like directed Thor, right? Like, Jon Favreau directed like the first couple Iron Man movies, and but they've gotten away from that because they're like, well, we just want to like save as much money as we can where we can. And it's like, well,
that though, Julian, I don't think that's it. I think it's they overmanage their directors because everything needs to fit a particular vision, and you can't bring
that too.
You can't bring in like a true visionary director and have them fall into a mold like Ryan Coogler.
Right.
When Ryan Coogler made Black Panther, a movie that I was not a huge fan of, I was like, well, I'm glad he did it because I really like him. And I'm glad that this brought a character that I've always liked to the big screen, whether I like the movie or not. Like, this is great. But then for him to come back and do the second one, it's like, dude, fucking go do something else, please. Like, go stretch your legs. It's like, what's her name? Nia DaCosta. Like, why does Nia DaCosta have to make the Marvels? Nia DaCosta turned out one of the best horror movies of the year when she did the reinterpretation of Candyman. And then she goes and gets tapped to do the Marvels, and it's like, here's a list of characters that I don't give a flying fuck about because Captain Marvel stars a charisma vacuum. Like, she sucks. She's not, like, she's just not good. Like, it's just, I mean, she's good in the 21 Jump Street movie. She's very funny in that. But, like, do we need Nia DaCosta, who's a visionary and, like, a very remarkably talented filmmaker, to be wasting her time with a Marvel movie? I don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
Well, Rob, here's the thing. Those movies make a lot of money. And I'm sure they get paid a pretty good amount to do them.
The Marvels didn't make that much dough.
Well, it doesn't matter. They probably get paid to do it.
Yeah,
probably a pretty good amount.
Got her check. Yeah,
I'm sure.
And I'm not saying that the creative visionary shit doesn't pay, but it kind of doesn't pay as much as that shit does.
No, and it's the
and
Eternals.
That's kind of the brass tacks of it.
That's kind of the perfect example of having like a visionary director try something different and having it be a colossal fucking failure because the director of the Eternals is a genius, and that movie really tried some interesting shit, but it fell flat on its face.
Yeah,
I liked it, but I know most people didn't. But I'm a big mark for the cosmic part of the Marvel universe anyway. So
totally, it would have just been like I feel like a lot of issues could have been solved with that movie by saying like they weren't here when the Thanos stuff was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of fans would have been like, okay, that's fine. They weren't here. But like to say like, oh, they were here the whole time. It's like, where the fuck were you? Like,
right. I mean, that's the big issue they're going to run into with like trying to integrate like X-Men stuff into the MCU. Although it sounds like they're probably just going to try to do like a backdoor, like they came from another dimension and now they're here, and you know, but people hate them for some reason because they weren't here before. I don't know.
The Stage Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
We should move on to thanking our lovely patrons.
Hit the ground running.
We're done with video game talk?
No.
Oh, all right.
But it is time. We every week, or we appreciate all of our lovely patrons, but every week we like to thank our executive producer tier. So we'll do that right now. It won't take long. This week, we have Ashley Montgomery, a new executive producer to the Stage Select. Welcome, Ashley.
Welcome, Ashley. We have Big Baker.
We have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnoff.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Eric Peacock.
We have X-Rian.
We have Game Johnson.
We have Joel Thoman.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip P.K. Becker.
We have Raymond Crum.
We have Stephen Lobo.
We have Xavier Krager.
We have a new key grip person. 60 does stuff.
Yes.
60 does stuff. I want to make sure I read it right.
Yes. Been very active in the Discord as well.
Yes.
So thank you, 60. And we have a new free member, Daft Man.
I know them.
So thank you to everybody.
I remember them.
Yes. Daft Man's been around since the NWP days. So
yep.
Thank you. And like I said, like, you know, more ways to interact with the Patreon page, even if you're a free member. So it's definitely worth going and checking out. But thank you to everybody for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. So I played a little thing that was.
Well, hold on.
Oh God.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I actually just want to know if we should take a break at this point. Do you need a break? Anybody need a break?
I'm okay.
You're okay. All right.
Did you need a break, Justin?
I actually do need to use the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I need to use the bathroom really bad. Okay. Well, you guys, you can talk if you want. I don't care.
No, that's fine.
Do whatever you want.
We'll shoot the shit.
Here.
Hey, one break coming up.
God damn it.
Great.
That's the only reason that you wanted to take a break.
That, and I actually do have to use the bathroom.
Okay, fair enough.
So good.
And now, Video Game Masterpiece Theater, with your host, Thaddeus Whippleshire. Good evening. I am Thaddeus Whippleshire. What happens when a group of highly trained officers end up in a nightmare scenario? That's the predicament that Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and Albert Wesker find themselves in when they take refuge inside the Spencer Mansion. From the original Resident Evil released in 1996, thrill to this tense exchange between the STARS officers before the true terror begins. This scene stars Julian Titus as Chris Redfield and features the debut of two incredible talents, Morgan as Jill Valentine, and Abramo as Albert Wesker.
I don't know what happened.
Barry. Where's Barry?
Oh, hey, well, I'm sorry, but he's probably...
No. What is that?
I'll go and check.
Okay, man, Jill and I will stay in the hall, okay? And in case of, like, an emergency?
Chris, take care.
This has been another installment of Video Game Masterpiece Theater, with your host, Thaddeus Whippleshire.
Whew.
Oh,
Yeah, that
pick
was
it
like
back
a,
up.
That's like a 2-minute piss. Jesus Christ.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that was long, that was more intense than I thought it was going to be.
Well, speaking of more intense than I thought it would be, not really. I played a little game that was on my Steam. I had seen this on like Steam. Like it was one of those weird things where like, you know, you're on Steam one day and like a preview of like a game that's upcoming like kind of pops up, and I just happened to look at it, like, oh, that looks like it might be. Oh no, I take that back. I think I had seen a trailer for it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I need to go wishlist that right now. That's what ended up happening. So I played all the way through a little game this week called Moving Houses, and it is It is a very cool little cozy game about packing up a house and moving the boxes into the truck, and nothing happens nothing weird happens. It's a very chill game.
Pretty normal,
that everything is good and happy and fun, and I think people should check it out. No, so obviously I'm being facetious. It's a low key like horror game, but it's a game that, you know, takes a bit to get there, right? It might take a little bit too long to get there, honestly, even though it's only like about a 2-3 hour game. It's very short. Now there is like a remixed version of it that you unlock after that I haven't gone all the way through yet, so maybe my thoughts will change after I play through that. But it is one of those things where it's like, okay, there's actually kind of a lot of walking back and forth between this house and this truck. Like, I get that, like, you know, that's part of the game, but even with it having like such a short runtime, it does take a little bit to get to the weirdness. But once it gets to the weirdness, like there's some pretty decently effective stuff, and then like it's the better type of horror where it's like it's not just there to scare you. It's like, oh, that actually hit me in a way that I wasn't expecting to, for different reasons, where it's like, oh, this game has a little bit more to say than just like, hey, we made a cozy game that's low key a horror game, and ha ha ha, gotcha. But
Yeah.
it's really good. It's obviously like super low budget. Like, it's a very small team. It's made in Unity, which is fine. Like, it does the job. It is a game that I think could benefit from a little bit of voice acting, like not the main character, but there's like the tutorial, every time that you move on to a different room, there's like a tooltip that comes up with like what you should do for the next room. And that's where like a lot of the creepiness starts to set in.
Yeah.
And I think the game would benefit a lot from that being voiced. And then that narrator getting like more and more like insistent on what you're doing, like throughout the course of the game, or getting more antagonistic towards you, because the dialogue definitely gets there, but like I think it would be more effective like voiced.
Right.
But other than that, like, I enjoyed it. It's a get in, get out type of thing. Like it's kind of a nice bite-sized, little horror game. It's got some, fun with physics type stuff. And, I definitely think it's worth checking out. I don't remember what I paid for it. I want to say it might have been 20. It might not be worth 20. It might be a thing that you want to pick up on a sale. But I do think
on Steam. Let me look.
Yes. I do think that it's if it's 20, then I think it's something that you should wish list and then pick up when it's on a discount. If it's under 20, then fine. Like I think
it is $12.99.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Perfect at $12.99.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested at all in like a cozy type game, but that has some bite to it, check out Moving Houses. Like, I don't really have much more to say about it because get to do so would be getting into spoilers and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. I do think that it is worth knowing up front that it is a horror game.
Well, it on the Steam page for it does kind of make clear that it is kind of what's going on. So it's not super secretive about it. Like
it's not, but I can still see a scenario where like
you could definitely like speed click through that and be like, oh yeah, this looks fine, and then it be something completely different. Yeah,
for sure,
absolutely.
Yeah, and then I think the only other thing that I've got game wise that I wanted to talk about briefly because it only happened today. Well, not briefly. I've got some things to say. Is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out today.
Oh boy.
And, it's on Game Pass, so that was a no-brainer for me to check it out because, I'm not a big Call of Duty fan, but I did really like Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which I reviewed for Pixelbit back when that came out. And then I played through most of Black Ops 3 when it was on PS Plus. And those were I like the Black Ops games. I was not aware that there was a 4 and 5. Like, I was shocked when this was number 6.
Why not?
But it's been a long time since I played a Call of Duty game.
Is this the post 9/11 one?
No, actually. Well, I think it does get there eventually, but the game starts out in 1991, so it's around Desert Storm era.
Interesting. Yeah. I saw a trailer for like a Call of Duty that coming out. Like my friend Cody sent it to me, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, that one looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second, but I need to talk about the experience of trying to play a Call of Duty game in the year of our Lord 2024 because it's been a long time since I tried to play one. So, I knew that it was coming out on Friday, and so I think last week, I got the notification on Xbox that, you can preload the game, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll go ahead and preload the game. And so I went to go install it from the game, I think it was from the Game Pass page or whatever. And I didn't realize this, and I think this changed a few years ago. Jeff Gerson was talking about this on his show this week. But so the way it is now is that Call of Duty is now just a kind of an app that contains all of Call of Duty within it.
Oh.
And based on what you have purchased, that's what's available.
Oh.
And there's a lot of problems with this.
Yeah.
So first of all, now you have to have an Activision account to even fucking play anything on it. So I had to sign up for that shit today.
That's really weird considering Xbox kind of owns it or whatever.
It's very weird, Justin.
Yeah.
Yes. You would think that Xbox would already have
you'd
access
have
to the
figured
data
they would have
they
been
need.
like, don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting it here. Right.
But the other thing is that, like, so when you go to install it, it tries to install like everything that's available. And it's on game, and so there's a lot of Call of Duty games that are available through Game Pass right now. So it wanted to install, like, I don't even know the name, like Modern Warfare 3, but not the Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360, because now we've looped around to where there's a second Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 trilogy. It's not Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3.
Well, no, that just makes sense, Julian.
It's fine. I don't know why I'm getting up in arms about it. I unchecked that. I was like, no, I want Black Ops 6. So that's what I had selected, or what I thought I had selected. And so it installed this thing and everything, and I fired it up just to see what was going on, and it wanted to set up the Activision thing. I was like, I don't got time for that right now. So I just left it.
Okay.
Get on today after work. I get off at 2:30 on Fridays, which is very nice. I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna go fire up Black Ops 6, and with any luck, I'll be like halfway through the campaign by the time it's time to record, and I can talk about a lot of the game. That'll be sweet. But no, it had not actually installed Black Ops 6. And I was like, I thought that was the whole point of me preloading it, was that then it would just automatically update to Black Ops 6. But no, I had to download the whole like 55 gig thing. So that was a thing, and then get into it. And I think it speaks to like how disposable Activision has feels about this franchise, because it's all just in this big package, right? It's all just one thing, to the point that, like, I went to go look at my achievements after my session of Black Ops 6 to see like where I was in the campaign. All the achievements are mashed together of all of the recent Call of Duty games. So I had to scroll through like Modern Warfare 3 and like Cold War, whatever the fuck. Like,
weird.
It took so long before I got to the achievements for Black Ops 6, because they're all just in this. It's just the Call of Duty. Here's the Call of Duty, guys. Like, and then you select like what it's almost like the Master Chief Collection, but that is specifically a bespoke collection of the Halo games. That makes sense to me. That's what you're purchasing.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Right.
Yeah. But here, I think it is, because it's like, well, you're just going to throw this away like next year when the new one comes out.
Yeah, when
so
the new
whatever
one comes
the fuck,
out, nobody's going to play it. Yeah. Okay, that's still weird though.
Yeah,
wow.
I don't like that aspect of it. But anyway, go through all those hoops, get into the game, and it's funny because and it is very telling. I mean, one, I think this speaks to like how poorly Xbox is doing in the market, but also it also speaks to the fact that like people play Call of Duty for the multiplayer, because when I finished the first fucking mission, I got a rare achievement that only 1.07% of players had gotten, which is the first fucking level.
No, well, Julian, maybe you're just that good and nobody else is as good as you.
No, it's got to be that.
That's it. No, that's definitely it.
I definitely didn't die to grenades like 7 times in a row in the first level. That definitely didn't happen to me. I'm so great at first-person shooters.
No, yeah, and I believe it.
Yeah.
I just looked up this one, and it is the one that I thought it was.
Because I know that there is some like post 9/11 stuff that happens like in the course of the story, but it starts in 91.
Interesting.
So it might take the place over the course of like a 10-year span, actually.
I don't like when Call of Duty games don't have super famous people in them. Like this one only has Lou Diamond Phillips.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I was kind of chuffed to see Lou Diamond Phillips in like a really chewing the scenery, awesome. Person of authority, like chewing your team out for like fucking their mission up, and I was like, awesome. That's kind of cool. Like, because I still think of Lou Diamond Phillips as like the baby face from La Bamba, because it's just like kind of burned into my head, so it's kind of surreal to see like, no, Lou Diamond Phillips is a grown ass man, like an older man now, and he's playing older man roles, but like fucking nailing it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have made like a lot of like ballyhoo about like, oh, I can't believe that like they've got like stuff going on. They've got like Bush in there and Clinton, and they're like pulling from like this and that, and I'm like, I don't really understand the kerfluffle over that, when like there's movies that that pull from history, like, because it's like, this stuff is like over 30 years old. So like,
if you're gonna tell a story about a real life geopolitical thing, you need to have the real life geopolitical figures that were involved in it.
Yeah.
So
I respect it for that.
That's so fucking stupid. People are so weird with the things that they get up in arms about.
Listen, hey, keep your politics out of my video games.
That's not that. I think what the actual complaint is, and they don't want to admit it, is that they're like, no, but that's my lifetime. Like, that's not history. That's my lifetime.
Yeah, that could be it.
Well, no, I hate to break it to you, but it's also history. Like, we've lived through a lot of like crazy shit.
Sure have, yeah.
So like, no, I really appreciate it for that. Like, I haven't really gotten into any of that stuff yet. Like, I haven't, like, definitely when the game opens up, like, you've got, press conferences from Bush and stuff like that, talking about Desert Storm and stuff like that. And it definitely, like, paints a picture and kind of sets things up. And I am curious to see where they go with that. But I don't have any issue with that. And I have to say, well, one, like, it's funny because, again, so many people are more focused on the multiplayer. So you would forgive the team for, like, kind of phoning in the campaign if they even bother with one. But it's a fucking incredible looking campaign. And I'm only like 3 levels in, but holy shit, does this game look nice. And, like, it definitely nails, like, the setting, right? Like, it's kind of cool to, like, you're in, like the CIA, like, headquarters, and, like, your supervisor you're in her office, and her computer is like, there's a floppy disk drive on it, right? And it's like, man, that feels so weird, but it's like, but no, that's accurate to the time. It's just, it just kind of, really hammers home just how much, like, has changed in a relatively short period of time, right? Like, 30 years is most of our lives, but at the same time, it's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, right? So, like, it's just kind of crazy to see. But I also was not expecting, at least for the first few, like, the first mission is like your typical, like, first Call of Duty mission where it's like a very on rails thing, like, you do some shooting, you follow some people and what have you. But then the second and third missions, I was not expecting them to feel as Deus Ex-y as they did. Definitely like they tell you right up front, it's like, I need you to go do this thing. I don't care if you go in, silent. I don't care if you go in loud. You just got to get to this point and you got to kill this dude. And I'm like, I'm going to go in quiet. And, like, and that felt really good. And also the setup is that you were working for the CIA. You were on a mission in Kuwait that went bad. So basically you're on their shit list. And you and your, like, Frank Woods is one of the characters from, like, the older Black Ops games. He's here as well. And you and Frank Woods and another guy are like, well, we need to take a sabbatical, and so we're just gonna take some time off, but really you're gonna go off book to go do this thing. And so you find this, like, former KGB, like, base of operations, and it's your base now. And so part of the aspect of the game is actually, like, funding this, like to upgrade this base and stuff like that, and have a cash flow coming in. That's so cool. like Woods is like, yeah, when you're out in the field, like, if you see any cash, like, grab it. Like, you're going to Robin Hood the shit out of this fucker. Like, that's what he says. Like, he's like, steal from the rich to give to the poor, which is me, right? And so that's what you do. And so there's a part in the second mission where you hear, like, the guys, like, kind of talking about this cash deal that they got. And so you get a secondary objective that's an optional objective where it's like, hey, go take that motherfucking money if you want it. And I took that motherfucking money. And it's really cool. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm cool. Super impressed.
Yeah.
I love that. They've always, like, the Call of Duty games get a lot of shit because it's like everybody, like you said, focuses on the multiplayer, but they've always had, and I don't know, maybe your listeners will disagree, but they've always had pretty fucking good stories in those games, and they've always had solid gameplay in the narrative part. Like, it's not like, the multiplayer is what sells the game, but, like, the stories have always been actually pretty good. Like, I remember Modern Warfare, the narrative in that one was so good. And then the original Black Ops, the narrative in that one was really good. And then there was the other one, not Advanced Warfare, but it was the one that had Brandon Routh in it. Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts. That storyline was really good. So it's like, people kind of shit on them, but they actually are good.
Yeah, and I have not played a lot of these, but I have enjoyed the campaigns that I've played, which is like I can count on one hand. But no, I have enjoyed what I've played, and I will say so. One complaint that I've always had about the Call of Duty games that I have played is that they've always been very much like, oh, take one toe out of line and his mission failed, like you didn't follow close enough to the guy, or you went too far to the right or too far to the left. And I remembered Black Ops 2 did not have that, and that's one of the reasons I liked it so much. And this game feels like that as well, where I did get one, like, hey, you need to return to the mission message, but it wasn't like an instant fail. It was just like, hey, pull back a bit. And it's like, okay, cool, no problem. But otherwise, like, it's been very much, like I said, like a Deus Ex, where it's like, yeah, find your way. Like, this is what you need to accomplish, here, but go do it. My biggest complaint about that, though, is that in the second and third missions, you have like a person in your ear, like on the comms, and she's very like just a few too many times saying, "Hey, you need to go do this thing," and I'm like, I know, I'm trying to get this motherfucking money though, so just cool your jets. I'm gonna get this motherfucking money, and then I'm gonna go up to the tower and snipe this dude. But I need that motherfucking money. And it's just like way too many times, like, of her saying like, hey, the mission isn't done. It's like, I know.
So like, does the upgrading of the base, like, does that affect gameplay at all? Like, does it make things easier or something? Like, if you take the time to do it?
Yeah, so I've only unlocked one thing so far, which I decided to pick. You can choose what you want to start with. I chose the training grounds, and then that gives you access to the perk system, basically. And so then you can spend additional money to use perks. So like the first thing I picked up was like additional health, because I was like, I would like to maybe survive a grenade blast one day, because that's kind of an issue for me.
Well,
but yeah, there seems like there's a lot there, and so I'm curious to see like what there's like basically 3 major components to the base, and then those I think are also additionally upgradable, like once you get them up and running. So I'm curious to see like what all you get there. And also, since it was like an old KGB base, there's like all these like hidden secrets in there. Like I already found like one of them. It's like, okay, yeah, like, this is actually like a very detailed hub that isn't just a place to like select the next mission. Like there's stuff that happens here, and you can actually have conversations with your other teammates, which is very well done. You're playing a silent character, a silent protagonist, though, which is kind of weird, because in the other games I remember like you were always playing like a voiced character that was like more part of the story. So that was a little bit jarring, but not a big issue, because the game feels so immersive. Like it honestly feels almost like a VR experience, because you just feel like you're there. So it almost plays into that with the character being a silent protagonist, because it kind of adds to that sense of, no, this is me. I'm here. I'm the one talking to Frank Woods. So, no, I'm thoroughly impressed, and I plan on playing all the way through it this weekend, because I know the campaigns are always really short. So, I'm going to take a little break from Metaphor and play all the way through that one.
There you go.
It's so far excellent. Very, very impressed. Awesome. Even with all the annoying hoops that I had to jump through just to get the fucker started.
Yeah, that does sound arduous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. That's it for me, though, Justin. I know we really haven't like spoken to you much yet. I do have one other main thing, but
I was gonna say, who cares about me?
Oh, okay. Fuck you.
Wow.
Yeah. No, who cares? I don't care.
Sorry. Hold on. Spence, can you come in here real quick? Fuck you. Thanks, Spence.
That was great.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Woo! You'll get some leg tonight for sure.
It's a gift that keeps on giving, really.
It really is.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Glad I went out of my way to find the specific recording that I took that from. Anyway.
Oh yes. The joy on Rob Ottone's face is quite priceless.
It's worth it. It's really worth it.
It's like seeing like your children's faces on Christmas morning. Like
yeah, it's quite good. It's quite good.
An experience that all of us are familiar with.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I guess I played some stuff. Most of what I did this week, I pretty much did on stream, which was I played a bunch of Steam Next Fest demos.
Dude, I have to say.
All right.
Watching you play Fast Food Simulator.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever laughed so hard that you get to that point where you start to panic and you're like, oh no, this is bad. Like this feels bad. Like something bad's going to happen if I don't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened to me watching you play fucking Fast Food Simulator.
That good, huh? That entertaining. Duly noted. Yeah, I did. Fast Food Simulator was one of the demos that I played. I had to make a lot of plain burgers for it. Everybody really wants a plain burger with nothing on it.
I can't believe you have to be level 2 to unlock ketchup.
Yeah, you gotta level up to get ingredients on to. But the thing is they're not in demand. Like nobody cares until you level up. Then they're like, okay, he's clearly better now. He's clearly capable of putting ketchup on this burger.
So now we want it.
Maybe we'll move on to cheese someday, but who knows? Let's not get crazy.
Sky's the limit.
Oh yeah, it was.
Now I'm having headcanon that you opened a fast food place in a region of the world where they've never had burgers.
Yeah.
And so you got to start them out slow, right?
Yeah, you can't add that much zip to it just yet. Yeah. You gotta wean them out into it, and then maybe mustard, at some point, it'll be a whole thing. Yeah, that game was it's a simulator game. You play. I burnt a burger and then I just left. The funniest thing is like I didn't know how to do everything, which I think is kind of the point and I'm just like setting burgers on just a table. I'm like, this is not sanitary at all, but fuck it, this is how we're doing it. It was a complete mess, but I would play it again because it was funny. What else did I play? I played Streets of Rogue 2, which was interesting. I'd never touched the first one, so I didn't know exactly what that game was. But Megan McDuffie did the music for it, so I was like, all right, might as well give this a shot.
Yeah.
And
killer music.
It is very good. The music is great. The game is actually kind of interesting for the most part. There's a lot of shit going on. I had no idea what I was doing.
It gave me really strong, like, I think you mentioned this on your stream, like very PS1 GTA vibes.
Yeah, you're kind of just walking around. Like I don't know, like you I'm guessing as you would go, you would kind of learn who and what you had to do and when, because like who you had to kill and who was worth killing and who is who you wanted to not have died. But like I don't know, at some point I was just like, I don't know what's going on, I'm just gonna start murdering everyone I see, which apparently was probably not the right answer, but it was fun. So it was interesting. There's like a whole skill tree thing going on. That's a game where you just kind of have to just play there. I think maybe the demo's still up, but I'm not 100% sure. To understand if it's your thing or not.
If not, you can definitely check out the first game because that one's been out for a while.
That one's been out for a while. I'm sure it's probably at least you would guess it's based off that. So there's definitely a lot of like systems and stuff going on. At least it seemed like it. Like you can go like break a window and a guy will go check it out, and then you can flank them or whatever the hell you're doing there. I don't know. I don't really know all the mechanics going on. I'm sure there's a lot of intricate stuff. I could build a house. Yeah, that was the thing I could do.
I thought it was really interesting because you get to select what type of character you want to start as, and you started as a cop, and you picked a fight with just an innocent bystander. You just like punched them or something and started shit with them. And then another police officer like walked by and instantly started like attacking that person.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned it was because like you were in the same like gang basically.
Yeah, basically.
He was just backing you up, but my read on it was like, oh, he didn't even like need to verify that this person did anything or not. Like he's just like, clearly this person needs to die.
Clearly, yeah. They fucked up. That's all there is to it. That's Streets of Rogue 2. It seems interesting. I don't know if it's my type of thing, but I feel like that's a game that if you were into the first one or you're into that what I just described, I guess you check it out. Let's see what else I played. There's a game called Keep Driving, which was interesting. It's basically you get in a car and you got to put stuff in your trunk. and you got to go to your friend's house and you got to drive there. And it's a side-scrolling game, and then you get in random encounters and have to solve various problems. Like there's a tractor in front of you, and that causes you some stress, so you got to use your skills to get around the tractor. And that keeps happening until I got I think I drank 2 cans of beer for some reason, and then they were like, "You're too drunk to continue." I was like, "Well, I am a lightweight, so that adds up." I thought it was interesting though. I kind of was getting into it. The soundtrack is pretty cool to that game. Even on like the streamer mode that I had, which was kind of cool. But at some point, like it just stopped, and I didn't know how to get it to come back on, which was weird. I've heard the actual soundtrack though, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is actually this is a vibe. It's pretty cool. It's definitely, that one's worth checking out. I like the art style a little bit too. Like it's basically just pixel art, but I don't know, for some reason it just kind of works. It's neat.
It has a real style to it.
Yeah.
The gameplay really did nothing for me. Like I was actively not liking what I was seeing.
Very much a roguelike. It's that kind of thing.
I told you on your stream, is like, oh, it's Darkest Dungeon, but in a car. Like that's
kind of,
really
yeah. Kind of that. It's not maybe as punishing as that is, but like there's some shit going on. I would definitely check it out again. But you know, whenever the hell it comes out. Let's see, what else did I play? I wrote them all down. Let's
you played
look
the
at
Precinct, which is one that I've actually been looking forward to.
Yes, that was actually my favorite one that I played. That one was actually really cool. That was a pretty short demo, but it was really cool. Like it's kind of isometric Grand Theft Auto, but you're a cop, so you're obviously not supposed to kill innocent people.
Set in the 70s, which I really dig.
Yes, set in the 70s. You just kind of, it actually, looking at it, I had a lot of concerns. I was like, this thing could go one of two ways. Either you're going to get in there, it's going to be pretty all right, or it's going to like feel terrible to play. That was my biggest worry, because I was like, I got some concerns about just looking at it and how it's going to actually play, but it actually plays pretty well. I was kind of surprised by that. I think the one thing I'm not super high on, and I understand because it's kind of, a smaller budget kind of indie game thing, is I don't really like the visual novel format thing that they're doing for like a lot of the dialogue. I think for some reason, I'm just like, I almost would rather you just do this in world than have everybody just pop up like it's like they're anime girls or something. I'm not really sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree.
Yeah, it's a little, for some reason it's jarring to me, but I don't know.
I just added that to my wish list. That's what I was doing that on my PS5 wish list.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, you're basically a rookie cop whose dad was like the police chief, I guess, so you're doing your first day. If the demo's still up, Rob, you should definitely check it out. It's very short, but it's kind of sold me on it. Like, I'm like, okay, no, I'm down to play this. You do a shootout, and it's kind of like, you shoot men. That's how it works. It's kind of like a lock. It's kind of a lock-on system thing. I thought it was hilarious that my first day I just stopped a bank robbery and killed a bunch of people, and they were like, "Man, great job on your first day." I was like, I shot and killed people like that. It feels like there should be a little more weight to this, but whatever. I think my biggest compliment of the game was going into the second segment, I believe second or third, where they were like, now you're going to get in the helicopter. I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to go poorly. This is where it's all going to fall apart, because I'm not a big fan of like any helicopter segment almost ever. Driving them never feels great. Man, I'm having flashbacks to the end of Grand Theft Auto 4. That's what I mean, man. Like, I'm not saying they're taking like heavy influence from Grand Theft Auto, but they kind of are. It's just kind of like Grand Theft Auto in reverse, right? But I was immediately like, oh fuck, this is gonna go bad. Best controlling helicopter I think ever. Like I was like, wow, great. This moves perfectly fine. Like I was super worried about this, and no, this is as easy as I felt like it. Feel like they always should have been. Like they were like, yeah, you got to keep the spotlight on this car, and I was like, oh man, this is. And then as soon as you like touch it, it's like, oh wow, this is really easy. This is how this should be. Bravo to them on that. That was like the biggest thing that was like, I'm sold on this. If you're the thing I'm most worried about is the thing that was actually my favorite part of the game, I'm down. Mm-hmm. So the Precinct, pretty good.
I'm excited for a good cop simulator type thing.
Yeah,
I haven't played a good one since This Is the Police.
Yeah,
which I loved.
Right.
And I didn't like This Is the Police 2 that much. I love the first one though. And there's literally a game called Police Simulator that I was going to try.
Oh,
and I'm like, I started playing it and I just was not. I'm like, no, this.
Well, listen, Rob. Police Simulator Patrol Officers is a classic of a video game. Let me tell you right now.
Am I missing out?
Yeah. No, I mean it's hilarious. It's that game is very buggy. I just like playing as Ashley Chang, Millennial Cop, and complaining about things. Yeah. It's a hilarious video game, I'll tell you that much.
We actually got our janitor from there.
Yeah. They come straight from there. That's good old Abramo. They're trying to better themselves nowadays, you know.
Yeah,
that's what they got caught up in some bad business, and you know they're doing better these days. Let's see, and then I think the last one I played that I'm going to talk about anyway, because there's one I just kind of like played for 5 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, no, I don't like this. And was Rift of the Necrodancer. That game's pretty fucking cool. I'm not 100% sure if they have nailed the control scheme. I definitely want to play more of it. I think I still have the demo installed, but God only knows if it works anymore. It's basically, Julian described it as what drum game that you played a while back.
Drums Rock in VR. Yeah.
Is kind of like basically it's like three button controls, and everything comes up, enemies move towards you, and everything's on the beat. It's a rhythm game. It felt pretty good to play.
Yeah, specifically the similarity with Drums Rock is that certain enemies take multiple beats to kill.
Yeah. And so you're kind of timing that, and then as other ones are coming on, you also have to be aware of them. So you're gonna have to press a button on that beat. Once you get in there, it's pretty cool. And then at first I was like, oh, this might be like kind of a little easy. I'm sure it gets insane. And then they introduce moving enemies, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, fuck me, this is pretty tough. All right, got it. This is pretty hard.
Like, I love a rhythm game, and I was watching you play that, and I was like, oh, there's way too much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. As soon as they introduced that element, I was like, ooh, that's a lot. I still want to give it another go. Because I think the biggest hurdle for it, in my opinion, is just getting the controls right. They recommend you play it on keyboard, and I can see why. Because you can have 3 fingers on the keys and do it that way. On controller, it's like, okay, you can use the D-pad for one part and the buttons for another couple parts, because you have to press things simultaneously and stuff like that. And it's still like it gets complicated really fast, especially because when you have to press more than one thing.
I think the only way that I could do that game on a controller would be like using L1, R1, and up on the D-pad.
My thinking to do it on a controller, and I've thought a little bit about this, was as doing Tekken fingers almost on it, where you basically you're almost holding the controller a completely different way, and having your fingers like this on the buttons, like
That's a new term for me, my friend. I just played Tekken holding the controller like.
No, I know
like
a lot of people do, but apparently that's that's a thing. Tekken fingers is like, yeah, you have your controller on the thing, but like, yeah, you're almost using the buttons as a keyboard because there's so many dual inputs and stuff like that. That's a big thing for Tekken people, I think.
Yeah.
That's also why they shortcut a lot of them on the L buttons and stuff like that. Anyway, doesn't matter. That game's pretty neat. Music seemed pretty good. The biggest compliment I have is it was the most advanced. What is it? The sync, the audio sync thing for the beginning of it. Like, man, they really went hard on making sure you were good on like, everything's gonna be like when you press the button, stuff's gonna happen when you think it should. I was like, wow, and like. They were constantly like, hey, how about we suggest you do maybe this point milliseconds more? And I was like, oh, sure, why not? And every time they would suggest something, I was like, no, that does feel better. Cool. All right. Yeah. Awesome.
I was pretty impressed with that calibration. I thought that worked really well.
Yeah, the calibration was awesome. Like, they really nailed that.
I was never able to get Metal Hellsinger to feel right.
Right.
And actually, even Hi-Fi Rush, like I never quite clicked with that one.
Yeah, I believe it, but this one really went out of its way to get that right. So
yeah,
and there's all sorts of weird stuff going on with that. It varies from TV to TV and all that sort of thing. So, but yeah, they did a good job with that.
Nice.
And then I guess other than Metaphor, the last thing that I really messed with this week was not a demo, but a game I picked up a little while back, and it is called Phoenix Springs. It's kind of a it's a point and click adventure game. It is very much an art piece. It has a fucking style to it, and it's really cool. I like what it's going for. As a game, I didn't really get into it. I played it for about an hour, and it's very much like a detective story. You're trying to find your brother who's lost. That's really it. You lost your brother. You're trying to find him. Go do it. And you're like, okay, cool. And they just kind of set you out, and you have kind of like a thought bank that you can kind of use to interact with stuff. Like you have your brother's name, so you can use that on the computer and it'll search him on the computer, stuff like that. It's very, very point and click adventure. Go ahead.
Justin, I'm looking at this. Is it pretentious as fuck?
Yes.
Okay, because it looks like it. I'm getting such strong Virginia vibes from it, and I hated Virginia.
Oh yeah, it's pretentious as shit.
Okay.
Very much so. Like I said, I played it for a little while, and I the way it was kind of described by I don't know where I read it, but it was like, yeah, it's kind of going for like this world that like could exist in like almost like Disco Elysium ish. Not near that or anything, but like you could see a scenario where a world could switch to this, and it kind of surreal in its own way. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right, that seems fun. And I like a detective story, so I was like, I'm willing to try it. It has a neat art style that I'm looking at, but yeah, no, it is very up its own ass at every turn. Also, I think its biggest crime for me personally is I was like wanting something to hook me with it, like, but it's like it didn't give me anything. Like it didn't really, like, I was like, okay, where's the thing that's gonna like make me want to keep going here? And maybe I was like right near where it was about to happen, but it just never. I was like, nothing interesting is okay. I'm finding my brother. Okay, he was a professor at this place. Okay, they got kicked out. Okay, I really don't give a shit. Okay, these people are having a rave in a university. I guess that's cool. I think that might have been like the most interesting thing that I found was the people were doing some sort of sleep deprivation rave as an experiment, and I was like, okay, that's neat, but I don't care. And then it introduced like some sort of book puzzle that I had to figure out, and I was like, I'm fucking done here. That's enough for me.
Two of Justin Ham's greatest weaknesses combined.
Yeah.
Books and puzzles.
Yeah, books and puzzles. Fuck that. It wasn't even so much a puzzle. It was like, your brother or somebody wrote a book, and then you had to find like where in what section. It was basically just the fucking Dewey Decimal System, but a puzzle. And I was like, this is not. It was so slow moving. Like everything moved. Like in order to click on a bookshelf, like okay, most your standard point and click adventure. The last one I played was Norco, that I can think of, and I liked that game. I didn't love the ending of it, but I liked that game. It's pretty cool. That one, like, everything moves super fast, and you're basically in first person, and you're clicking on shit and doing it that way. This one, it's like you click on a thing, and your character has to slowly walk over to the thing and stop. And like there was in the book section of specifically, there was parts where they would have to walk all the way around this thing to go to a thing, and I was like, I'm not sitting here doing this. I'm sorry, game. I respect what you're going for. This is not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Phoenix Springs. If you're into point and click adventures, play Norco. That one's pretty good. So there you go. That's been my adventures in video games this week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Rob, I know that you've been kind of like away from games for a bit, but if you have not checked out Disco Elysium, that is definitely
You
one
really
that
should.
you must play.
You should.
Yeah,
You
I got
specifically.
it. It's on PlayStation Plus for free.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah.
I got that
Definitely.
Doki Doki Literature Club because I remember Justin talking about that one a million
That
years
one's
ago.
wild. Yeah, that one's wild. Yeah.
So I got both of those. I'm very excited to play.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know which one I'm more excited. I know Doki Doki Literature Club does like some meta type stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, as soon as I saw both, I was like, oh, all right, sweet, free. I'll take them.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Like-
man.
I don't like to overhype things, but Disco Elysium is one of those things where it's like a transformative experience where it's like, oh, I didn't know that video games could do this.
Yeah.
And, those don't come around very often, but that's
Mhm.
definitely one of those.
It might be the best writing in a video game ever, in my opinion.
Yeah. I can't
In my
really
personal
fault you for
opinion.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, in
Yeah.
a video game, might be the best writing I've ever seen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm excited to play more things, and I haven't been excited to play things in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back in the mix.
Hell yeah. So, we're getting to the end. Unless Rob, I'll hit you up if you have anything else. But I did think of one other thing that I did touch this week, which
Okay.
it was an interesting game that like I had seen on Game Pass, and I downloaded it on a lark, and it kind of sat on my Xbox for a bit, and then I like kind of looked at some reviews on YouTube to see if like should I fuck with this or not, and
Yeah.
like the reviews looked very positive. It's called Creatures of Ava, and it is a game. It's like a sci-fi game where you are a scientist who is coming down to this alien planet that is being infected by some sort of like rot that's kind of overtaking the landscape and also corrupting like the wildlife or like the animals and stuff like that. And you're trying to basically save as much of the planet's ecosystem as you can by basically taking them off world and replanting them, including there is like an indigenous people that's on this planet. And humans have been there in the past. There was like an expedition in the past that, so like they're familiar with humans. They can actually speak, English and stuff like that. It's very, very convenient.
Mhm.
I think the big, like if you had to like distill it down to one thing, it's gotta save them all. Like instead of gotta catch them
Okay.
all, like it's very
Yeah.
much about like researching these creatures. Like you take photos of them, you gain more information about them. You're not trying to capture them. You're not trying to hurt them. You're just trying to like rescue them and save as many as you can. Similarly to what your complaint was, Justin, about the Precinct with like that kind of like disparate art style going on.
Yeah.
The game opens with like a traditional like hand-drawn anime intro with
Great.
like but it's not a Japanese game. It's a Western made game, so it's like Western anime style.
Sure.
But then the in-game graphics are, the Blizzard style, which now is basically the Fortnite style.
Okay. Sure.
So those two styles don't mesh, right?
Yeah,
Like you
gotcha.
pick one.
Makes sense.
So like that's one thing. It initially gave me like kind of Beyond Good and Evil vibes, simply because like, okay, you have a character she's got a camera, the weapon that you get, but it's not really a weapon, is a staff, and I kind of had this thought. I'm like, why do women always get staves or staves as weapons? Like it's kind of a thing. Like I noticed, like when you have like a woman as the lead character, that's like almost always like the go-to weapon. Jade in Beyond Good and Evil, Aloy in Horizon.
I could tell you.
Okay.
Who writes those games? And who writes those stories? Dudes, what's a staff look like? A cock.
I don't know if it's that, but I'll go with it. I'm just like, give a lady a sword once in a while. I like a sword. Well, but actually in this game it's a moot point, because there is pseudo combat. You get this alien artifact that's a staff that is like the key to kind of like curing this corruption that's eating into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is like you kind of hold down a button at parts of like the corruption to like, basically cleanse, and you kind of hold down the button until like you get rid of it, right? It's how you solve like a lot of the puzzles. There's also like different abilities that the staff can get. Like very early on, you're able to levitate certain objects with it by like locking onto them and hitting like the like R1, and it'll like levitate a thing for a few seconds, including enemies. But when you encounter corrupted like creatures, they're completely enraged and they're just charging you. And what you do is you hold down the L2 button to start this like purifying thing, and then just kind of evade them until you cleanse them of the rot. And I don't know why nobody told the developers like during testing or anything like that, but that's fucking boring.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big reason why like Ghostbusters has never really transferred over really well into video game form, because at the end of the day, like the Ghostbusters are just kind of holding a beam on a thing for a long time until they can, get it in the trap. And like that's very thrilling when you're watching it in movie or cartoon form.
Right.
But for an actual video game, it's like, oh no, this is super boring. And that was like the thing right away with this game. Like it's got a really cool like vibe, and I kind of like this whole idea of like, we're going to like try to save this planet, but like instantly, like the first time you go to talk to one of the like elders at this first village you go to, and you tell him what your plan is, and he's just like, wow, that's incredibly ignorant.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you just like have like it's very much like you humans just come in here and think that you know what's best for us, and haven't even taken the time to like look at what's actually going on. And you get the sense that like they are aware of what it is, and it might actually be like kind of a cycle of the planet, right? And it's just like a thing that happens. But I would be curious to see like where that story goes, but I played it for like 20 minutes and I was falling asleep, and I'm like, no, this is just like,
yeah, you'll have that.
Yeah,
you'll have that.
I get why they don't want you like thwacking the creatures, but I would not mind if like I could use the staff as a thwacker and just kind of daze them, and then hold down the button to clear to cleanse them or whatever, and to make it just a more active scenario. But it feels extremely passive and just like, not my thing.
Yeah, it's for somebody for sure, but
definitely, yeah. And like I said, the people who reviewed it seemed to be like really into it, and it's definitely a unique type of game, right? Like it's something I would say that's worth checking out, especially if you're on Game Pass. Like just go download it and play it and see what you think. I will say that like I died on the first like encounter with like the corrupted creatures, and then the checkpoint was further back than I would have put that checkpoint.
Ooh.
And that spoke poorly of where the game was going to go.
Oh man, so there's times where that happens to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, nope, that's it.
That was almost it for me too.
Yeah,
but I was like, suck it up, like play a little more of this.
Every now and then I do that. Yeah. But yeah. It usually, I'll tell you this. You're right. I'll usually tell myself that exact thing. All right, no, just keep going.
Yeah.
But you're on a short leash at that point. Like you're very
that happens
short leash.
Again. Like
yeah.
Especially because at that point it's like, well, when is this game checkpointing? Because that was because I had solved like 2 like mini puzzles and then gotten to that thing, and it's like, why wasn't the checkpoint right before the thing that could possibly kill me?
Right.
You know, like that's like games have been that way for 20 years. Like I don't understand.
Yeah. Nah.
But that is it for me.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. Rob, did you have anything else that you wanted to hit up before we take off?
No, I just hope everybody has a wonderful spooky season and gets to hand out a lot of candy on Halloween to the kids.
Yeah. It's actually coming out coming out publicly the day before Halloween. So
there you go.
It was like perfect timing. Yeah. Well, okay. I think that's a show, Justin.
All right. If that's a show, then yeah.
Okay, now you have me questioning things. Is there something that we're missing? Is it?
No.
Oh,
not
okay.
really.
You didn't have another.
Are you that afraid of the ghost of Daily Lee Roth?
I feel that you have something else in your back pocket that you feel disappointed that you didn't get to pull out.
No. Edit point here. I thought of one more video game, but I'll just say that shit. It's not even. It's not worth talking about. And I might have already talked about it already. I can't remember. So yeah, no, I got nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Rob, thank you so much for being on. Like, it's always a pleasure, but it's been too long, and it's been great to sit down with you, and I'm so excited for you to get back into gaming. Like that's a very cool thing to hear, because we've bonded over that, right? Like it's been such a big part of our friendship over the years, and it's great to be able to talk to you like in depth about video games again, because last few times that we've gotten to talk, it's been like, I haven't really been messing with anything.
I'm glad I got back into it too, and my shrink is, I am, and my wife is. I've always worried that she and I should be sitting and conversing and whatnot, but she likes sitting, playing with her phone, and listening to me play the game and watching me jump when it's scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice. It's very nice to have that experience to relax with her and to relax with games again in general. And I added a couple that you were talking about to my wish list, and
hell yeah,
especially the Precinct sounds especially good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm very happy that I'm back and I'm enjoying it. It's nice to enjoy it. Like I didn't know that I was going to enjoy the Silent Hill 2 remake, and I am very much.
Hell yeah.
And you mentioned before, what is another remake that might be one that I would go into? Shenmue.
There you go.
Yeah. It would be nice to see them, land finish that. Like I know he wanted it to be, it was supposed to be a 16-part story initially, and Shenmue 1 was supposed to be like 4 parts of that, but I have yet to play 2 and 3. I own them, but I just haven't gotten around to playing them. But I'm always curious. But I do think that like the Yakuza series really kind of like ran with like what Shenmue like kind of set out to do.
Yeah.
Ugh. That shit was awful.
They're great.
Oh, God.
Agree to disagree.
But thank you for having me, and I'm always happy to be here. And the next time, it'll probably be spooky season again.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might have another Silent Hill game to talk about. That's not that terrible TV show that they did. That was
God,
the worst thing I ever watched ever.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't sound good.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, where can people find you, and is there anything upcoming that you want to point them towards? I mean, I'll definitely have a link to like your Amazon page in the show notes for purchasing all of your incredible writings, a lot of them. I am a particular fan of Her Infernal Name and The Vile Thing We Created, but actually, and also like, low key, possibly my favorite one is The Triangle. I really love that book. I haven't read The Deep yet, but I really dug The Triangle, and like I've told you before, but it's worth it bears repeating, especially for new listeners. You write in a way where I can see the film, like the film adaptation of it, like clear as day. Like, and I know because you're a big student and fan of film, and like your books read like TV shows and movies, and like I can picture them so well in my head, and I'm like, man, one of these days, like one of these is going to get turned into like a really kick-ass movie or series, and people are going to be like, holy shit, like this is incredible, and I'm going to be like, yeah, but I knew him when.
Well, your lips to God's ears. I hope that that does happen. That would be really, really, really cool and really exciting. I'd be lying to you if like I didn't keep a list in my head of people. I'd be like, here's a book I wrote called The Vile Thing We Created, and I think you'd be really good at turning it into something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's definitely people that I'm always like, oh, they could do it. That would be
here we go. This is where things start to come together, because last week we had Megan McDuffie on, and one of the things that she wanted to work on was like a cool like horror like indie horror movie type thing, right? Doing the soundtrack. Friend of the show, John Gholson, is like breaking into acting more and more every year, and like he's got actually a couple like kind of high profile indie horror movies that are going to be coming out in the near future. And now we have a writer. Stuff feels like it should be coming together in a way.
There you go.
That would be cool. I like both of those people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love that. Nothing would make me happier. Yeah, I don't know. You can follow me on Instagram at Robert Ottone. That's where I have the most fun. I'm almost never on Twitter, really, because I really hate Elon Musk and his hair plugs. I really dislike him. And Facebook, I don't really do anything with. But Instagram at Robert Ottone. And yeah, I don't know. Like this winter, my YA Bigfoot book will be out again. That'll be re-released, so I'm excited for that. And then in the spring, my collection Wrapped in Plastic will be re-released with 2 novellas and 3 additional short stories. So it's going to be 22 stories altogether in one big juicy collection.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about all these things. And then my agent is shopping 2 books. Perhaps by the holidays, those will be sold, which would be lovely. And then I could pay for my wife's new kitchen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Woo-wee, you'll get some leg tonight for sure.
Just the idea of someone yelling, "You'll get some leg tonight."
Yeah.
For sure. Such a weird, old-timey thing to
so
say.
It's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
God, I fucking love it.
I appreciate how clean those clips are.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's they're on YouTube. If you look up, the song that's a clip from the song "Unchained" by Van Halen. You can look it up, vocals only, and it'll come up that way. And then I made it a little bit more clean on my end, but which was pretty easy. But yeah, so it worked out pretty well.
Well done. Yeah, Justin, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Tyrone_Swift. I am also like Rob and don't get on there very often at all, unless it's sometimes I stumble onto it by accident because they send you notifications sometimes. And I'm like, what? And then I click on it, and then I'm like, oh, why am I here? And then I get off. But if you tweet me, I will probably reply. Maybe. Who knows? Also, twitch.tv/TyroneSwift. That's where I stream on the Saturdays. I have actually, well, you'll have missed it by the time you listen to this, but I actually have I guess, horror game that I'm going to play. So we'll see how that goes. Might be terrible, might be good. I can tell you this, Julian. If you thought Fast Food Simulator was funny, apparently I'm going to manage a diner.
Oh, okay. I'm curious because there was a game that I saw a trailer for ages ago that I thought looked really cool, and then it completely fell off my radar. So I'm wondering if this is it. So
what was it called? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Okay, well the one I'm looking at is called While We Wait Here, and it's basically you're managing a diner at the end while the world is ending outside. So it's very much a cook the cheeseburgers for people. Also, there's horrible tornadoes and shit going off in the background, and everything is ending. So see how that goes.
Yeah.
And YouTube at Tyrone Swift TV on YouTube if you want to look at all the old streams, or if you missed the one I just mentioned and want to see it, you can do that way.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. I'm also trying to be more active on Blue Sky. I gotta say, there's kind of this whole loving thing going on there right now, where people are just finding people that basically you kind of post what you're into, and then people are finding people based on those posts and then following people.
Okay.
So just today I've gotten I think 20 something followers, which is on Twitter I might get a follower every couple months. So,
Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and it it feels a lot more chill, and I definitely see a vibe of listen, y'all, we need to keep this place clean. So if someone's being a dick, don't engage, just block. Don't even bother, don't feed them.
Right.
Move on with your life. It's no, that's my one of my biggest problems on Twitter, and I still have a good time on Twitter. I've met some really good people on there this year. But it is the fact that people have not understood that the blue checks who are trying to stir shit up are doing so because they get paid for it now, and they don't understand that even if you quote tweet them, they're still getting that engagement money, and it's don't fall for it.
Yeah.
And so it's a whole thing. But people that I think are smarter than that are still falling for it. I'm guys, no, don't do it. Let's just have fun talking about video games and TV and shit. You can find the show on Twitter at Stage Select Pod. Let's see. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, there's a lot of ways that you can get at us. You can email us. The email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. You can DM us on Twitter. You can comment on the YouTube version of the show. Now you can also comment on Patreon even if you're a free member. You can also get into our Discord, and there's a channel there. And also, the Discord is a very fun place to be. It's been super active lately and a lot of fun. We got some new listeners who are going through and listening to everything starting from the beginning. And so it's kind of fun to get these conversations from 15 episodes ago.
Yeah, that is pretty fun. So, somebody found when we created the Discord, or when I got on the Discord, one of the two, I can't remember exactly which one it was. That was pretty funny. I laughed.
Yes. So, definitely a lot of ways to get at us. Thanks as always to the incredible Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Gholson, for being our announcer and providing us with our artwork. But that is going to do it for this edition of the Stage Select. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. Special thanks to Rob Ottone. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
Oh, yeah!
Perfect.
That's funny. It's funny that he dies all the time.
I really enjoyed the I haven't read a magazine since the Obama administration. I was just like, okay, guy got to bite my tongue on that one. That was pretty good.
All right, here we go with the actual show.